So what?
It's cool back a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
And we live.
Ooh, live like a 4-wheel drive, live and direct with a 4.5 and a tech. You feel me?
Like I said, why do I feel like this is going to be a long night and strippers are about to show
Hey,
up?
stranger things have happened, sir. Salud. We se van
Hey,
a Dores, you feel me? No llores. You're
Thank
playing
you,
by
man.
the Lush Uno in the building.
Dude, the hospitality has been, it feels like a homecoming, dog. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
First of all, it's an absolute pleasure and an honor to be sitting down with y'all.
Thank you.
Damizza, I feel like we are, I don't want to be so bold as to say,
Be as bold as you want, player.
cut from the same cloth, but
I would say that after...
purveyors of the culture, like you are, just to give an intro to the people, even the people that don't know you, they know you. You know what
humbled,
I mean?
humbled.
Or know what he did. you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
because this dude he is an unseen hand and one of the most influential figures, one of the most prolific on the producerial side, on the mentorship side, and just a true, like I said, purveyor of the culture. Damizza, you feel me?
Can I say one thing? First off, thank you for having us. And it's so dope to be sitting here with my little brother, being here and everything. But right before we sat down, I saw a Instagram from N. Hale. And he was at his pop's grave, and he said something along the lines of, "I hope you hear me," or "How can I reach you?" And on his grave it says "Music in Me," and you used "Music in Me" in the post. And that was the honor of my career, is to have the title track from Nate's album. Rest in peace, buddy.
From his seminal, I believe that's his only solo.
Well, there was G-Funk Classics. There's, Nate is Nate. But
that was his
But to have that on his grave,
yeah,
you know what I mean, with his son sitting there, and his son, N. Hale, if some of you don't know, please go check him out. I mean, he is keeping his music alive. And
Shout
even him,
yeah, shout out Nige.
I love Lil Nate Jr. too, and I just want to say I love you guys, and you are making your pops proud.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Sorry, I just needed to get that.
No, and we're gonna.
Got me all fucking teary-eyed at the beginning of it, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, we're gonna delve into all of that. I mean, you have such an extensive history. I really want to kind of try to paint the picture for the people. And obviously, if you have an artist and it's someone that you're co-signing, that got my attention. So that got me.
It's not an artist. That's my little brother, bro.
Right.
Like I was telling him this morning. It's like, it's, like there were times when whatever I was doing or whatever the heck was going on, that like I couldn't even take care of grandma. You know what I mean? And Bams was there. So this ain't an artist, dude. This is my little brother.
Buddy,
Skippy.
He nice on the mic though.
Yeah, hell yeah.
He nice on the mic. You feel me? The rowdy joint going up right now.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. But he's a spitter, and it's dope to see. It's one of the things that kind of initially, beyond the relationship y'all have outside of the music, did you kind of notice like this dude is more of a spitter than we're used to seeing from this generation? Did that kind of appeal to
you? Also have to remember that being like my little brother, you know what I'm saying, or being my little brother, he's been around all of the influences and all of like Warren G and just everybody. He's been around them and watched how I operated with them. So it's like, what I said this morning, last night, we're with Lefty all night, and the engineer had to go out and move the car. Well, Bams just sat there and started recording, and Lefty was just like, "You can record too?" And he's like, "I got you." He goes, "Punch this." He hit the line, and Lefty went, "You're hired." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was just like,
And Lefty's a very particular dude to record with too.
Yeah, I love him and Solus. So. Great guy.
Shout out Solus,
Shouts to OTR. Shouts to Solus.
Shout out Lefty.
Shouts to, you feel me? Shouts to my nephew, Lefty, you feel me?
Yeah, we have
Nephew
fun, man.
Play. That's my nephew.
We had a lot of fun, man. Lefty's funny.
Break down, but I want to hear about this session. So how did you and Lefty linking come about, and then what was the shenanigans that ensued last evening?
Well, go ahead. Do you want me to tell us? It started with Solus.
I don't even remember.
You know what I mean? because like I saw Lefty. Well, actually, we're driving to Louisiana.
Nah, it was when we got back. What really happened is I was just playing the Lefty RJ record at the studio.
Great record.
And we were just.
Oh, you're talking about the current stuff.
Yeah, he's just saying how it started, like
my bad.
working with him and
Sorry.
shit.
Yeah. What was like the initial?
Yeah, I was just playing it right there, like probably rolling up or something. You know what I mean? Probably I think one of the homies was right there, and he heard it, and he was like, and he made a little video talking about, oh, this needs to be on the radio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're playing yourself if you ain't playing the RJ Lefty record, and Lefty heard that, and Solus heard that.
And it wound up getting played subsequently.
Yeah, and then what happened was God bless Charisma. Charisma hit me and asked me
Charisma
for the cleans.
Yeah, shout out Charisma.
You know what I mean? So we shot him over, and then whatever happened. And Lefty was on a podcast and started saying stuff, and like, yo, thanks for looking out kind of thing. And, then Solus and I touched base. And within like the first 2 minutes, how like, when we were talking down in the parking lot, we're just like the same kind of souls, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we're pure. We're about that life. You know what I mean? It's no bullshit. Like we shake hands. It's that. You know what I mean? And that's what happened with Solus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the second we walked in, he said, look, this is what I heard about you. This is what it is. And I'm just like, oh, great. Like finally someone's fucking honest with me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And when Bams was playing me the Lefty stuff and stuff like that, and he did the record with Skippy and Rowdy Rax and C had gotten with Rowdy and da-da-da-da-da and all this kind of stuff and played the music or whatever. And then Bams played me the thing. I'm like, damn, this would be great for OTR.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like finally to get this cracking. And and the other thing is, just as a mentor and stuff, I always felt guilty like I was holding Skippy and Bams back, because I wasn't really in the game like that at the time. I was focused on grandma, and they were, Skippy was doing what he was doing, but Bams took time out of his life to come and spend that time to help me with grandma. Do you know what I'm saying? So I always kind of felt guilty, you know what I mean? But then I was like, damn, now's my chance. Like, let me just bring Bams to the table.
Yeah, but Granny always looked out for me, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like that was my grandma too, you know?
It's
So,
family.
yeah, so it was like, you know what I mean? It wasn't even a
Funny story, the last
Boy.
video I have of grandma, right, is if grandma didn't have her teeth in or her hair done, like she would never do a video. You know what I mean? Or want her picture taken.
She was fly.
Yeah, she was dope. And I'm walking into the bathroom and I hit the thing and she turns her head. And I said, this is for Bams or something. And she turned around, oh, hi, sweetie. Like, I love you. Like, all this stuff. Like, I always joke that Bams was grandma's favorite. You know what I mean? Like, and they just had a special relationship. I mean, even running through Costco, I had some of my favorite memories is like grandma and Bams running through Costco. You know what I mean? Like, and
So
people would look.
How old were you when y'all met? Like,
shit, probably like 13, 14. Okay. Yeah, when we first met, yeah.
And you're from Santa Barbara as well? Or?
Yeah. I met him through one of my pops' homies.
Okay.
Well, actually, pretty much two of my pops' homies. You know what I mean? And then basically.
Well, tell the story, fool.
Yeah, basically. I got a little studio set up, and one thing wasn't working. And so on the way he was going to like go work with Dre or something like that. And on the way, they called him and asked him if he could just stop and help me out, set up my little equipment, you know? And I just needed like the phantom power button or
It's
something.
like
you know
13,
what I mean?
14, bro.
Right, but that's so indicative of the type of person you are. You're on your way to a session with Dr. fucking Dre, Mighty DR. And you're going to make a little pit stop at the young homie's crib.
I was actually late for the other session because
It was like detox time. Huh?
Yeah,
Like
they were all working
time,
on detox, and we were on our way down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To go just have a meeting or something like that, and they called and they were like, "Oh, the little homies can't get their mic to work." You know what I'm saying? And I was like, just stop off real quick on the way. You know what I mean? Like, and then I saw them and I saw how into it they were, and I'm like, damn, this is what I like to be doing. I don't like going to these meetings. I want to help the little homies.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I knew if I sat there for a while, that's just one more second, they wouldn't be in the fucking streets. You know what I mean? And it just turned out to be what it was. And, I found my best homie out of it, my best friend, my little brother, that's what I found out of it. You know what I mean? So that's why you always take that second. As a mentor, you always take that second.
You know what's crazy is, like you said earlier, when we actually shook hands and formally met for the first time outside, it was like, you know what I mean? You see a bit of a reflection. You're like, This is someone else that what I consider people like us. This is the best word I could use to describe it. Lifers.
Yeah.
We got a life sentence in hip hop and music culture, and that's where we're gonna be. From the where we're gonna be, quote, you feel me? From day one to from cradle to casket.
Yeah, that's just what it is.
That's what we are. Now, you coming from Santa Barbara, right? Mm-hmm. How would you describe Santa Barbara to people that don't know?
Well, what Santa Barbara is what you got to realize is it's a facade. You know what I mean? It's a vacation town, right? So it's like going to Disneyland. You know what I mean? You see everything, but you'll never see somebody carrying trash down the middle of the street. You know what I mean? Like they'll empty the trash cans and go behind the scenes. Like when you're going to Universal
I mean, now
Studios,
the homeless moving in a little bit extra,
Well, but let me get there. But what I'm saying is like, that when you're at Universal Studios, you drive down like New York Street, but then you turn the corner and realize there's nothing behind it.
Right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
It's like North Korea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like storefronts and
Hell
all that,
yeah.
but the fucking mangoes aren't real.
Yeah,
Like,
but the difference is behind that curtain there's a lot of real motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the people that power that journey. You know what I mean? It's the people that are the people that make it operate like that. And that's what, like for instance, the east side of Santa Barbara is, or Goleta, or
And the east side of Santa Barbara has traditionally been a predominantly Chicano, Mexican area.
But it's those working folks.
Pretty much all Santa Barbara is
Right.
Yeah, mostly Mexican.
Right. And I think that's a big misconception that people have for multiple reasons. One of it being a coastal town, one of it being a college town.
Yeah.
But there is a whole community there with a lot of history and that people.
But it's like
often-
staying in an expensive hotel.
Right.
It's the maid that's the one that's the real one that can tell you how the system works.
1,000%.
You know what I mean?
And I'm from West LA. I'm a beach boy myself. You know what I mean? Grew up a couple miles from the beach, so I know exactly.
It looks nice, but
you feel.
But at nighttime, it turns into Iraq.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I seen my first dead body in Venice, California, when I was 5 years old. You know what I mean? That's just par for the course in areas like that. But and people would have no idea because there's these nice families from Des Moines, Iowa, flying in.
Well, you said something yesterday that really tripped me out. You said Oprah's house is
like 5 minutes from the hood.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It'd be like that. You'll have blocks with $4 million homes, and then around the corner from Section 8 housing, and that's West LA in a nutshell, and why people.
That's
don't
Santa Barbara in a
understand.
nutshell, man. That's
Right.
That's anywhere USA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially
those kind of places.
towns in California that are in high demand and gentrification and all things like that. But it's really interesting. So growing up out there, originally before were you already into hip hop when you started doing because your initial foray, per my understanding, into the industry, you're still 12, 13 years old, and you're working for terrestrial radio at the time?
Yeah, well, they made me, see, here's the thing. Like, I heard NWA Gangster, and that changed my life.
The best.
You know what I mean? Like, that was that. I've always been drawn to urban music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know why, but it's just, it's just something in my bones. But when I
You're a
started,
crazy motherfucker from around the way. Since you were a youth, you smoked weed out.
That was still crazy.
Literally.
Now you're the
Still
motherfucker they
crazy.
read about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was that, you know what I mean? That part, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, and then when I got into radio, the way the formatics work and the corporate structure and all of this, they said, well, you've got to do alternative.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or you've got to do rock because this is a rock town. You know what I mean?
But that was a cool era for rock music.
Yeah.
That's the height of
Nirvana.
alternative. And you're looking at your catalog.
It was like right before.
So some of the artists that you were breaking, like Garbage,
Nirvana.
You broke Paranoid by Garbage, right? That's an
The whole, Garbage period.
Garbage period.
And that's where I learned about producing because Butch Vig produced Nevermind
He's the
and
man.
the Smashing Pumpkins.
Worked with 9 Inch Nails. As well.
Right. So then I see, this thing from Almo Sounds. It was like a demo kind of. And we just got it in the mail because radio stations would get it like, this is what's coming, blah, 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 blah. And I saw Garbage produced by Butch Vig. I was like, wait a minute. So I popped it in. I was like, wow, I can vibe to that. And I picked Stupid Girl, Only Happy When It Rains, and Milk, and, you know, all these records, and just said, fuck it, I'll just throw all 3 on the radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then they're like, wait a minute. Like, we just sending out demos, and you're out here playing 3 songs. Then, like, Kevin Weatherly or somebody would be driving through Santa Barbara from K-Rock in Los Angeles to come kick it in vacation. They hear this shit on the radio, and then they go, oh, well, I guess that's what we're playing next. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Santa Barbara, you know, has always had this influence. You know, we're kind of in the middle of the Bay in LA. So like people come to kick it, you know, they pick up some vibe, you know. So that's just kind of what it was. You know what I mean? So when I started playing Garbage, they said, well, we owe you a favor. And I'm like, don't tell me you owe me a favor, bro. Because I'm going to call that shit in.
Yeah.
So later on down the line, when they went platinum, I said, I want you to do a 200-person club.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we're going on tour with fucking Smashing Pumpkins and doing the Weenie Roast. We only have 1 day off. Like, we can't do that. And I'm like, well, I guess you aren't people of your word.
I would have taken a lap dance from Shirley at the time.
Yeah,
Because
I'm saying. She was bad.
she was bad.
Ooh, that pink skirt. Forget it. Anyways, what I'm saying.
I was going to throw my panties on stage.
Dog, you know what's even crazier is when No Doubt, right before they blew up, you know, we started playing Just a Girl, Spiderwebs, and all this stuff. And, you know, that was too, like, we owe you a favor.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, stop by and do acoustic before you guys hit the Santa Barbara County Bowl opening up for Bush. You know, and what was crazy is No Doubt was bigger than Bush, but they were opening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they stopped by the station.
Bush
They
was
did
just
that
like
shit.
ubiquitous too at that time. Like they're
Dog, all I know is Gwen looked hot as fuck.
Gwen, joint. She's trophied up. We can't even.
Yeah, but I think that's where she met Gavin or whatever.
Wow. Oh,
But,
that makes sense.
Yeah, at that show, the
married
first night of
for
the
like
tour.
that
You know what
long.
I mean?
Shit, yeah.
But they came by, they did it, they kept their word, and next thing you know, the music director of Power happened to be there, and I just said, look, I'll clean floors. I don't give a fuck. Like, and my first day was working for Curtis Blow.
And how old were you at that time?
Oh, God, man, I was probably, I don't know, 17, 18.
Wow.
Something like that, you know, and then the crazy kids, God bless them, and, you know, then the next person to come in was Ice-T.
Before that, though, even someone I wanted to reference, you helped break Fiona Apple.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
you know, I have a funny picture of Fiona Apple because when she was like 16, 17 or whatever, she was coming up and she was on Work. Shout out Michael Becker.
and I was the same age as her, so this is not a perverted comment. You
No,
feel
no,
me?
no. Like I was too. Like,
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
fuck?
yeah. I was the same age as her,
And it was kind of like the Aaliyah thing, you know. Even Aaliyah was, you know, we were about the same age. So when she was blowing up, they introduced us, and you know, whatever. We go play miniature golf or whatever. But
my boy played miniature golf with Aaliyah.
yeah, I'm just saying.
Who
like,
won?
She did, obviously.
You let her win.
She's the boss, man.
Yeah,
she's a
course.
good girl. Rest in peace, Aaliyah. But-
11 times out of 10, she's winning.
But you know, like with Fiona, I have a funny picture in my photo album where it just says, "Damizza, you prick," or "Damien, you prick." You know what I mean? Because it was just, you know, we would joke around. You know,
Yeah.
we were the kids. You know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean? I was 15, 16 years old, and I was on the radio, and you know, I was going to high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like I knew what cats wanted to hear. So I just go, you know, I'd be around school or go to football games or whatever, and they'd be like, "Hey, dog, did you hear this?" or whatever. And I'd be like, "Oh, fuck it, I'll play it on the radio tonight." You know what I mean? Like, so when I got to LA, it was just easy because it was like, here's what we're not doing. We're not playing Ain't No Fun. We're not playing all these records that cats really want to hear in the real area codes or zip codes where cats are really at. You know what I mean? Because when I was growing up, like, look, you know, I'm from Santa Barbara, but you know, I always joke with him, I identify as Mexican. You know what I mean?
I mean,
like,
I thought you were a fool. Like
I'm Turkish and white.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like all my friends growing up and even now, I mean, his dad is one of my best friends. You know what I mean? Like,
we're definitely like Chicano washed white dudes, like both of us. So yeah, I get it.
you know, I mean, it's just, it is what it is.
I knew when you shook my hand, you said mucho gusto.
Yeah. You feel me? Like,
I was like, oh, all the homies do that.
Yeah. You know what it is. You know.
Where did I put my Corona? Are we doing the deer? What are we doing?
We're doing both. Is this your?
Since we're live, I mean, fuck it, it's Friday.
What are we doing? You want to have this cigar? Want to sit in?
Where's bros? Oh, there it is. Yeah.
What's this fool doing here?
There's the young Corona.
Thank you, brother.
Big rig in the building. Come on. Santa Barbara related question, obligatory, because I've had some of the most wild evenings of my entire life there.
Me too.
What can y'all tell me about the 6400 block of Del Playa?
I was just about to say, you must have been on Del Playa. The Marley House, maybe?
Come on, every house.
It's every house.
Every house.
Dog, we used to put, like, I remember Bishop, shout out Bishop. We took, and Elijah and all of them, we took them to, and these guys, and Wino, God bless Wino, rest in peace. You know, we took them all to... We took him to the Marley House and we just like performed like some songs they had just done right on the stage right there. Dog. Oh man, they weren't ready.
They've been going out there since I was like 14.
That's
13.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I had him on stage at like 14 at the Marley House, bro. Like I was like,
I remember performing there.
police are all stopping us. Like, what are you doing?
There's
Like,
no standing room. You're just like you're on a balcony at some frat house overlooking 1,000 people. Everybody's faded. Bitches are fucking like there's more titties out than there are. And, like it is the wildest.
you know, there's an old movie called Caligula that's about the
Of
Roman,
course, yeah.
you know, Roman emperor.
That's like
where
Caligula.
That was Isla Vista back in the day. You know what I mean?
Straight fucking orgies. Yeah, Isla
That was
Vista.
it.
So for those who don't know, Isla Vista is the
College town.
college town where UCSB, University of Santa Barbara, is at, and Del Playa is prime real estate for debauchery, turning up.
It was OnlyFans before OnlyFans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Girls Gone Wild.
Yeah, there you go. That was taped in Isla Vista several times.
1,000%. So yeah.
You know what's crazy about, you know, really rich, repressed girls is when they go off to college.
Oh yeah.
They lose their damn mind.
Of course.
And UCSB is
That's one of them ones.
more expensive schools in the nation. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So.
Well, you got used. I mean, and you know, there's.
And they
right-
all
right on the
luckily,
beach,
and they
too.
all luckily used to listen to the radio.
Yeah, so they're turning up. They want to hear some. They want to hear that real shit. You feel me? Now, Damizza, what was your earliest exposure into music beyond like as a fan? When did you realize like okay, like not. I want to get by. Was it for you? I feel like you're a get in where you fit in type person.
That what?
You're a get in.
You also
where
have to remember I'm deaf because I've listened to way too much music way too loud.
You're a get in where you fit in type of person. As far as you have a very diverse skill set. You're able to actually do everything involved in the creation of the music and the marketing of it.
Well,
and
you know,
everything in
I
between.
never
So-
wanted anyone. Look, you know, it's funny. There was one night with DJ Quick at the House of Blues where he said, you know, there was this R&B group that was on before, and it was a beat show. Keep in mind, I worked for Power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or worked for Power. And it was a beat show, so it was all black audience, right? And an R&B act goes on before Quick, and they're going, Quick, 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 and they booed the opening act off stage.
What year is this?
Oh, I'd say, God, it was probably around Trauma. I don't know, like 2000.
So like after
maybe?
Rhythmolism and all that.
You know, something like that.
Yeah.
And we had What Would You Do? And we weren't to cruising yet.
Yeah.
It was like Chip the Curb and you know those kind of things.
Okay.
And he said, he goes, "Hey Miz, go out there and open up for me." And I was like, "With that, are you fucking crazy? They want you."
Yeah, that's.
And he looks over at me and he goes, "Maybe you're in the wrong business." I said, "All right, homie." I said, and I looked at my homie Triple, shout out Triple, and I said, "Hey, go get one of those bar stools up at the thing. Ask for a bottle of vodka and a group of them cups." And he was like, "What?" And I said, "And roll me a blunt." And he's like, "What?" And Quick's like, "Dude, go out on stage. You got like 5 minutes." I was like, "Give me a second. Let me handle this." So I put the thing in the middle of the stage. I put the cups in the thing. I fucking grabbed the blunt. And I said, "All right, we ready?" And I fucking said, "Hit Chip the Curb." And I said, "DJ Quick told me to get y'all fucked up before he comes out here tonight." And I handed out cups to the whole front row and then just walked down the whole fucking line and did this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I got off stage and I was like, "That what you wanted?" And he said, "If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere."
That very, very tough situation.
You know what I mean? But what I'm saying about that situation is if you can't know enough about everything of this aspect and at least try it, you know, I was risking booed off stage, white boy from Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
but I just knew that, you know what I mean? God got me. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just been the whole thing is it's just, you know, shout out DOC, like what he said is this is just a God thing, man. Like if you're really into hip hop, then you're just doing it for the love of what you do. And that's that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we don't control how the outcome is. You know what I mean? If it was so to be that I get booed off stage that night and that's just not what it is, then that's not what it is. But I tried everything because I never wanted anyone to be able to say, you don't know because you never blank. You know what I mean? I wanted to know all of it. So you know what I mean? And that's why when last night when he slid over and started recording Lefty's vocals, I was like, homie, because that's what my mentors taught me is, yo, you've got, there ain't no situation that you can be in that you're not ready for. You know what I mean? And that's what's missing today is we don't have the mentors to teach these young cats why they're sounding like this or why the industry is so fucked up.
And like, since we're referencing DJ Quick, on the DJ Quick produced Sugar Free Classic,
Yeah.
if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You already know.
Two,
Yeah,
my brother.
yeah.
But do you see, that's why I'm saying the same souls collide.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, you know, DOC and Michelle S. and Kool-Aid and, you know, all of these people that I love so dearly, they all been saying the same shit. Like, yo, the bad guy's been in town too long. You know what I'm saying? And now somehow the body is a radio. You know what I mean? You receive whatever it is in your soul and in your mind, and then your mouth broadcasts it. You know what I mean? And God put out whatever that call was. Yo, these guys been fucking up the game too long. We need y'all off the bench.
Right.
So when Doc told me to come to Dallas not recently, he was just like, I don't know. I saw him in the lobby. It was just out of the blue. And I'm like, why am I here? He's like, I don't know. God just told me to, you know, have you here.
You know, it's crazy. So since you have recently...
Shout out to DOC, by the way.
Shouts to DOC.
yeah.
You feel me? Like,
That's the coach, bro.
one of the greatest albums of all
He's
time.
the coach, man.
And one of the greatest lyricists and one of the greatest what ifs in hip hop history, if not.
It's not a what if because, you know, like, you know, there's a thing in his documentary where they talk about losing his voice and stuff. And, you know, that's maybe God wanted him to, I forgot the line that they used, but maybe that's the voice that God wanted you to have. Like maybe you needed to change your path type of stuff. And, you know, maybe that's our dream. But whatever this universe is or this game is or what you believe is God, Allah, Buddha, whatever it is, that's who's in charge. You know what I'm saying?
We're not steering this ship.
Never.
We're not steering this ship.
I've been very lucky. I always say, look, I'm the Forrest Gump of hip hop, bro. You know what I mean?
That's a great way to put it.
You know what I mean? Because I've just always been, or music, just period.
You're there.
Is I've just been very lucky to be whatever the instrument is to connect the fucking dots.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm like that little alien, and you ever see Men in Black?
Of course.
You know that little alien when it opens up and he's in there and he's fucking just operating this shit?
Yeah, I have a friend that looks just like him, actually.
You know
People that watch the podcast.
That's me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I may be moving this body, but there's something else doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. There's a celestial force at work.
Yeah, you know,
But with that being said, and he still wound up to have a very successful, prolific career, despite that, you know, that occurring.
it made like the
best
Doc
writers.
is the most influential motherfucker. Period.
And he is. And
Look at Eazy-E. Look at all of that. That shit didn't pop off till Doc came in. If you look, and I'm gonna say this, like, if I didn't know any better, I would swear to God, Doc is God.
Yeah.
Like, because the way he talks and the inspiration he gives you and his peace and his tranquility and just how direct and everything, you know, that's as close as I'll ever meet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I don't mean like God, like, you know, I'm not saying it to be blasphemous.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm saying it as Doc is that instrument. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If Dre wants to go in to make a record, he called Doc.
And
You know
he's
what
the
I mean?
first one to knock up Erykah Badu right there. Come on, fool, you winning. You
know what I'm
legend.
saying? Like, damn. And that's a spiritual ass lady.
That booty is trapping anything within a fucking 17-mile radius around her. So,
and I actually had the chance to see, his daughter and everything. They sang happy birthday. We went to the birthday party afterwards, and so I got to see her speech. It's funny. Like, I recorded it, but I didn't post it because it was so personal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she was like, "You're my hero.
She showed him a lot of love over the years. I remember he had recently, I guess, gone through whatever therapy and years of, surgeries, whatever he had to endure.
He's trying to get his voice back.
And he sang, forgot what song it was, but it was like,
heard it. I know I think it was a Marvin Gaye song.
Yeah, it was like it was like What's Going On or something.
Or something. It was high and they showed the thing. Yeah.
And I remember she posted that on the gram, and I was like, damn, that's.
And Doc is just like, when you're in his presence, like, we were shooting a video, like, when we ran into video, I was sitting there shaking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't get starstruck. You know what I mean? I've worked with everybody. I get around Doc and I'm a little bitch.
That's the thing. I'll get
sorry.
Me
like,
personally,
I was just shaking, like Doc standing behind me. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be way more starstruck by being around the DOC, Slick Rick, someone like that, as opposed to, Drake, who's the homie who I fuck with. You feel me? Like, but like meeting Drake, which was awesome when I first met Drake, and got to work with him or whatever. But
Doc wrote the book.
The
bro.
DOC is like,
but that was the reason why they called it the formula.
Yeah,
is that was the formula.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was the formula of rap that everything after that, what was based on that.
Anybody, and the thing that I loved about him the most is because I've always been such a purveyor of West Coast, the West Coast period. You know what I mean?
And he's from Dallas.
Yeah, he's from Dallas, but for all intents and purposes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that music transcends, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, they was talking about, yesterday we were talking with someone about the East-West beef and all this. I'm like, they don't give Snoop enough credit. Like, Snoop literally, Biggie's on stage one night. Snoop comes out on stage and dances.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was not about that. There was personal issues about that.
Well, we saw what he did to the World Trade Center in that one music video in the New York.
Well, but whatever, bro. Like, but I'm saying, there was, whatever. But I'm saying he also looked at it as growing as an adult.
Yeah.
And said, let me fix this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we have to be as human beings.
Absolutely.
Is, look, I have a fucked up life. I've been through a lot of shit, and there's a lot of byproduct to the good that happened. You know what I mean? But at least I can say, look, little homie, learn from my fucking mistakes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And also learn from my successes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it's
1,000%.
And that's what we have to look at. You know what I mean? We're all human. We're all gonna fuck up. You know what's funny? I said something on Instagram the other day where the system is rigged. It's where, like, you Republican, Democrat, it's red, it's blue. Blood and Crip, it's red, it's blue. There's a reason why they do that, is to put us against each other. But it's like you find a common ground, which is music, and they can't control that shit.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
1,000%.
And Doc, you look at Doc, he's not gang affiliated. He had a good upbringing.
Yeah.
His grandma raised him with a mother, father, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like, and now, but he's the mentor.
And he just rapped better than pretty much everybody at one point.
And I'm saying,
like, if anybody...
Yo, you know what about DOC? Is he, outside of Ice Cube, and when Ice Cube wrote Boys in the Hood and all that shit, you know who wrote all the other shit?
It was him.
It was Doc.
It was Doc. So not only is he writing a lot of your favorite records that you weren't aware that he was writing, but listen to joints like Whirlwind Pyramid and tell me that he's not.
Let's kick it on the one block, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and we don't stop.
He's flipping patterns that to this day.
But he said his influence was like, the New York rap and all of that kind of stuff, but he wanted to do it authentically.
Yeah.
But then, look, the game that he shared and what he did, you know what I mean? Like, he coached Eminem. He taught Snoop what a song is, as opposed to, here we go. You driving, right?
Yeah, I'm driving. At some point.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Shouts to DOC. real legend in hip hop.
And thank you. I'm looking at the chat and they just said, I still believe remix. God bless you.
Yeah. 1,000 wow. Now, when you so when you
Yeah,
first,
what are those purple shoes, by the way?
those are kind of bad.
These are some fucking Italian shit, dog. I don't even know.
Some shit I can't even pronounce.
You
But
already
don't worry
know,
about
man.
it.
But we stepped out.
Don't try to
today,
pronounce
man.
my kicks. You feel me? Those are them. You ain't up on this yet once, but So when you originally first started working with Power, made that transition, and were you kind of like, I'm home. This is really what I been.
No, it
wanting
was
to
kind
do.
of fucked up. You know, it was like it was the best of both worlds, but you know, they wanted to put it. You know, it's like what's happening with me with Instagram right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to put a cap on me. You know, so even Instagram is putting a cap on me. You know what I mean? Like it is.
Shadow
what it
banned?
is. Yeah, sort of. You know what I mean? It's like, look, anytime you're telling the truth, motherfuckers don't want to hear it, especially in corporate world. You know what I mean? Like, so when I went to them at Power 106, I was like, look, we need to be playing the street shit, homie. Like, that's what really is going to drive, you know, y'all are in Hollywood. Try going to Pacoima some night.
Yeah.
You know, go to East Los and see what's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, go, you know what I'm saying? Go to Reseda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go fuck around over there and see what's cracking.
Right.
You know, y'all are sitting in Hollywood saying this shit is great.
Right.
And I'm like, that's the shit that already happened. You know what I mean? Because them folks ain't going to get it until 3 months after the hood done bumped it and been done with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was the thing. So, you know, I mean, I'm like, yo, we want to play Ain't No Fun in Morning Drive. And they're like, yo, you're fucking fire your ass. You try some shit like that.
They were not because by the time Ain't No Fun came out, Snoop was already.
Yeah, but it was never look, radio was a single driven business. You know, and with alternative, what I learned is we didn't have that gold base. You know what I mean? We didn't have, you know, we didn't have that current base. So we had Nirvana and all of these bands coming out, but album-orientated rock was these rock stations that would play album cuts, right?
Right.
So I was like, these new records that are coming out, why don't we make AOA, album-orientated alternative? You know what I mean? Where like if Nirvana drops a record or Alanis Morissette drops a record or Garbage drops a record, let's take 3 singles off that bitch and play it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's what was happening in the streets, so they liked it.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So when I got to Power, I said, fuck this, let's do album-orientated rap.
So Ain't No Fun was originally not slated to be a single.
Fuck, no, dude.
Are you fucking
when I first
joking?
brought that to my boss, she said, how are you going to edit that? Like, everybody knows what they're saying. And I'm like, that's the whole point. They'll sing along with it.
Guess who's back in the house?
You know what I'm
with a
saying?
Big fat for your mouth.
You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to play that on the radio?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I tell a story about Will Smith sometimes. Like, where like, I get a call from James Lassiter and Benny Medina, who was managing Will Smith at the time. And this is during the Wild Wild West phase, right? And I had just put Kill You by Eminem on the radio. Okay. You know what I mean? Because that's that album shit.
Right.
You know, Kill You wasn't literally a single, but fuck it. I liked the song. I put it on the fucking radio.
That is an insane song to get on terrestrial radio.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, fuck it. And I'm playing in a morning drive, right?
Yeah.
So I get a call from them and they're like, yo, Will want to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, well, where do I go? Well, come over to Warner Brothers Studios, blah, 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 blah. They direct me to Will's trailer. And Will hops out and he's in the Wild Wild West, you know, outfit with the hat, everything. Yeah. And he's like, Damien, you know, you're playing Kill You in Morning Drive. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes,
I'm not getting jiggy with it.
And he goes, my kids can understand what they're saying between the bleeps. And I said, okay, so are you asking me to censor rap? And he looked over at me for a second and I said, you saw my blinker, bitch.
Yeah.
And he was like, go on about your business. Wow. You know what I mean? Like,
that was the extent of the entire conversation, literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then walked off to the set. Like, he got it. You know what I mean? It's not that, look, this is rap. This is what these young cats are doing.
Remember, Will, parents just don't understand.
But that was the thing. He got it that second.
Yeah.
You know, when I said it like that, you know what I mean? Like, And that's what it is. That's the whole fucking game. Look, yeah, it's always a young man's game. You know, the young cats are always going to decide what's going to happen because that's what's happening in the street. That's the slang. The rappers, whether they're young, old, whatever, the reason why Dre and Eminem were so dope, or Dre and Snoop were so dope in 2001 is because they had that angry little white boy and the cats that were in the street giving them the game. Nocturnal. They had, Dogg, if you listen to The Watcher, for instance, right? You hear Nocturnal and Eminem's voice together. Then you realize the formula. That's Dogg. You know what I mean? You have the angry white boy that's from a fucking trailer park, and you have fucking Nocturnal, you know, from the streets of LBC. You know what I mean? Like,
and we just freestyled on that shit yesterday at Bootleg Kev.
Oh, that's lit.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then it's like, and their voices together. Everywhere that I go. You know what I mean? That's Nocturnal and M and fucking M.
I'm not going to front.
Where's the casa?
Where is the casa? I was today years old when I put together that was Eminem and Nocturnal.
Yeah, Doug, but you can hear it if you listen. Now, here's a funny thing. So I'm sitting with Corrupt called me up and say, yo, bro, come. Who's got the casa? Since it's Friday, we having fun today.
Yeah, we might need some more.
The dirt juice.
Damn, see how you guys do?
Dirt gang.
So, no, I'm just kidding. Look. So, no, I'm good. But I'll pass on. Because I'll fall asleep. I mean, no, but that's, you know, that's rap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's street driven. If you can't get that, then what the fuck you doing here? Okay, so I see one that says Scott Storch and Dr. Dre. Still DRE. First fucking night that Scott Storch was working with Dr. Dre. Mailman, DOC, Dr. Dre, they're in the studio. Fucking Dre calls me and says, come to the fucking studio. Like, there was a song called Malibu Dre, right? Which was the first song that Jay-Z wrote for Dr. Dre. Wasn't right. And Dre was like, nah, fuck that. And still DRE, Scott Storch sitting in the back of the room. I walk in, I'm just hearing this bling, 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 bling. And that sloppy ass, you know what I mean, Melvin doing what he's doing, or Dre, whoever fucking did the beat. And I'm like sitting there just going like, God damn. And Dre looks over and he goes, this is what I'm sending to Jay-Z. And I'm like, Jay-Z. And he goes, yeah, he's going to write it, me and Snoop. And I'm like, that's the one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That'd
I'm
be
like,
hard as fuck.
because I had heard Malibu Dre. You got to keep in mind, like, from the second that Dre wasn't recording to the time Dre started recording. And then the whole 2001, motherfucker was in the studio.
Yeah.
Like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the back of the room. You know, Calavelli, God bless him, he sent me this fucking thing from, what's that movie, the Jimmy Iovine and Dre movie? The Ones or whatever.
Straight Outta Compton, you're
no,
talking
the
about?
Ones or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whatever that shit was. And he freezed, like, when they were recording Hi, My Name Is, he, like, freezed this dark area in the back and zoomed in and did some AI lightning, and there I am standing.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
in the motherfucking shadows, huh?
yeah, just always in the shadows.
What's your relationship with Jimmy like? Jimmy Iovine?
You know, I haven't talked to Jimmy in years, but Jimmy, like, challenged me early, like, because you have to remember, like, the first he heard of Dre and Snoop reunion was on the radio.
Yeah, really?
So he calls me up and he goes, yo, why am I hearing a radio promotion on the radio from a producer who doesn't produce and an artist I haven't seen since Death Row? And
he's referring to Snoop's the artist he has since Death Row?
And there's a 250,000.
So he missed the whole No Limit thing, apparently.
No, well, keep in mind the first No Limit album wasn't Dre.
Right, no.
You know what I mean?
Was.
So the first he hears this shit, he goes, look, there's a bill on my desk for $250,000 for the show in Hawaii, and I don't have an album to put this to. Like, if this don't happen, I'm going to sue your fucking ass. You know, you're on this thing saying this, and this. Dre signed to me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, just relax. It's happening. And he goes, well, we about to find out. You know what I mean? So that was how I met Jimmy.
Interesting. So how did that transpire? Like as far as them coming back together?
Oh, I tricked him.
You tricked Dre?
I literally tricked him.
Well, please break that down.
Well, I mean, God, man, it's such a long story, but
I got time.
And I've told it so many times, and just so many, like, it's just like, yo, the bottom line is, and you know what? Fuck it. Okay, so we had Snoop came through Curb Serving Fuzzy. You know what I mean? The connector. And we were playing songs like Midnight Love, which would be exclusive
Great
contact.
fucking record.
You know what I
Raphael
mean?
Sadiq on the hook. Come on.
Beautiful. So it was like, I was like, I'll take that. You know, and these are songs he's recording in his house. So I'm like, dog, like, it's a no-brainer. Snoop can work weekends at Power and play records like this all day. Fucking
Yeah.
great. So, you know, I run into him at a show we had. We had a show at the Palace in Hollywood, which is what I alluded to about him coming out on stage with Biggie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That was where that happened. You know, so I run into him. I'm like, yo, come to work for Power 106. You know what I mean? Come do weekends. You know what I mean? So he came and did weekends. And, you know, I'm thinking about, like, you know, I run into Dr. Dre at the Zoom video shoot. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what happened to the one from the Compton swap meet and the Slauson swap meet? The one with Snoop Dogg on it. This LL Cool J shit is bullshit.
Yeah.
And he's like, how do you even know what that is?
Yeah.
I'm like, homie. You know what I mean? And then the relationship developed from there. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, you're really about your shit. You know what I mean? So I was trying to find an excuse to call Dr. Dre. You know, he gave me his number. Like, how the fuck am I? Oh, so I go into Snoop. Hey, Snoop, Dre want to work with you again. And he's like, oh, I'll put that motherfucker back on. You know what I mean?
And that's literally all it took.
Literally. And then I called Dre and I'm like, hey, how's it going? Snoop said he want to work with you again. Oh, shit, I'll put that motherfucker back on. Said the exact same fucking words.
Per your understanding, what was like the initial...
Well, I asked Dre. I said, yo, what's your relationship with Snoop Dogg? He goes, I just ain't seen him since Death Row.
So there was literally nothing.
So I knew, and I went to Snoop. I asked the same questions. I just ain't seen him since Death Row. So I was like, okay, this is the opening. And why I did the reunion concert in Hawaii first was because I just wanted to see the fucking show. You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking about... I always tell the story about, like, you know, when they hit the stage and, you know, Battle Cat was DJing. I love you, Battle Cat.
One of the goats.
And Jam. But when they hit the stage, once they were on stage, I took my fucking pass off and just went to the front row.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting there fucking losing my mind, going crazy. And Dre stops and he sees me in the front row. He's like, what? And I'm like, what? And he goes, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. And he almost trips over the fucking monitor into the front row. And I'm like, no, it's cool. And I fucking took off. And afterwards, he comes over to me and goes, you know, what happened? What was wrong? I was like, bro, do you think I fucking booked this show for money or ratings or something?
I'm trying to have
I just
fun.
wanted to see the fucking show.
Yeah.
I was in the front row rocking out. And he goes, oh, I thought the sound was fucked up or something. You crazy. And just fucking took off. You know what I mean? But that's Dre. Like, Dre is like us, bro. He's not this mythical figure. He's that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just...
Now, what do you say, and I'm glad I have you here for this, because I'm assuming a similar outlook on this than you do. Now, a lot of people, hip-hop is the only genre of music where the word producer means or insinuates that you're the person that actually constructed and arranged the music.
No. You know what? Quincy Jones.
Thank you, Quincy Jones.
Let's
Sir
talk
George
about
Martin.
the old school. You know, it's funny because I put on my on my Instagram about vaudeville.
Yeah.
Quincy was one of those guys that came out of vaudeville.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the orchestrator.
Right.
A producer is an orchestrator. You know what I mean? It's the one that, you know, I say that a producer is an air traffic controller. Mm-hmm. You know enough about everything to be able to do the job. But to be a true producer, you have to have done every job.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Quincy, he did everything. Ray, he did everything. You know, Quick, he did everything. You know what I mean? These cats done everything. You know what I mean? So it's not what it is today where you just make a beat, but it's not their fault because, You know, credits have disappeared. You know, you don't see the credits, so you don't understand, like, there was an engineer.
Well, liner notes have disappeared.
Well, that's what I mean. Credits and liner notes. So you don't see there was a producer, there was an engineer. You know, John Marie Horvat recorded the vocals, but Bruce Widian mixed on a Teddy Riley track that was played on by, you know what I mean? Like,
with additional mixing by Ross Robinson.
You know, all of that shit. So you don't know the different roles. You know what I mean? So you just think, oh, well, it's all in the box. I'm just going to say some shit and that's that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it don't work like that.
No, definitely not. But so what do you say to the people that say, oh, Dr. Dre has ghost producers or Timberland has ghost producers?
Fuck them. He has musicians that come in and make great fucking music. What can you say about Dr. Dre?
That's I'm glad that to hear you cleared that up, because there's this whole misconception when people, you know.
Okay, let me just say this really clearly. Pause. Clear.
No,
so you got me drinking, look.
Damn, homie.
Sorry. Yo,
the truth comes out.
I cannot believe that that's even a question.
Yeah.
Music is a collaborative effort. You know what I mean? That's what it was set up to be. A session, a jam. That's that.
A vibe, huh? Yeah,
it's just a vibe. If somebody plays keys, great. Bring those motherfuckers in and play keys.
Yeah.
If they play drums, play drums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if an engineer says let him fucking hit the keyboard a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, see where everybody's at. You might find a vibe in the middle.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's very important, because there's no other genre of music where that's even a question. In pop music and rock or whatever, you know what I mean? People don't expect the person that's actually arranging the composition.
But that's what the producer role is producing the session.
Right.
You know, and that's why I say it's such, man, it's like, you know, going to the studio was a religious experience. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You go in and you have the engineer, you have the microphone, you have the second engineer, you have this person that plays this role, and you know, I mean, there was a role to it. You know what I mean? Now it's just like I play the beat, you rap on it, and then we put it up on social media.
Yeah. And you feel like
what about the engineer? What about it's just, that's what I'm trying. That's been my biggest fucking like plight in this. I mean, it's the reason why I hit that red button every day, is to just go, yo, bro, that's who did this. That's who did that. I'm trying to be the credits. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And say, yo, bro, the reason why your shit sounds like shit is because that's the guy that did it. Go study what he did.
So what I tell people is the popularization of prosumer audio gear, which then is now snowballed into the fact that all you need is an iPhone to produce, record, and
but
distribute.
That's all you need.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Like
it's almost drug addict culture. Mm-hmm. All I need is that fix, and then I'm straight.
Right. And what we have right now is music that doesn't tend
to your soul
to last as long, and there seems
it's disposable.
There was a lot more thought that was put into you. Not only thought, but you had
thoughts. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
THO. Go ahead.
Thoughts and thoughts. But you had to actually
Rolling Stone session. Sorry.
You actually had to have a financial investment into, like, you know, going to the studio, recording on 2-inch tape, paying for,
God,
you know, like
I had 2 2-inch tapes,
right,
that were put together with SMPTE,
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
laying SMPTE.
Dre and I were the last 2 to get on Pro Tools.
Really?
Well,
yeah,
maybe. Yeah. Well, because Quick is a kind of a tech head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he probably was fucking with it before we were, but
right.
I remember Dre and I were having a conversation about it one night, and I'm just like, bro, this shit is crispy, bro. I ain't fucking with that.
When Pro Tools HD, and like I remember, I want to say like 2003.
Shout out Michael Schlesinger, my engineer from back in the day, rest in peace. Because like when Pro Tools came out, he's like, yo, look, bro, I'll edit vocals in that motherfucker, but it's going back to tape.
Yeah.
And you know, and
well, that adds a level of warmth that you don't hear.
And not just that, but you got to remember something about magnetic particles.
Yeah.
it captures energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're in the studio and 5 guys are jamming and going off of each other, it captures the room.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
the aura, the intangible.
the feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's why September sounds like September. That's why When Doves Cry sound like When Doves Cry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Jean-Marie Horvath, like, you know, when I was talking to him yesterday, one of the greatest engineers ever, you know, like I said, Michael Jackson, Rihanna, Weeknd, blah, 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 and it stayed relevant. Like, he was telling me some stuff about the frequencies and stuff, and I never really even thought about it like that. You know, like that now Pro Tools, there's a way to do it if you use the right mic and do it the right way, but there's no one like him in the public to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I, like, for instance, the young engineer, who was it last night? Last night, the engineer.
Oh, Zay Sundo?
Yeah.
Zay Sundo, shout out to him.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm the worst with names, trust me. But like him, I put him on with Jean-Marie this morning, you know, and said like, look, you guys need to bridge the gap.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, show him some game, show him a change, show him something, because these kids just don't know.
They really don't. And
so if I can connect like somebody who's got 100 million records to his credit to somebody's that did Drummer Boy and fucking King Little G last time around, like someday he's going to be that guy.
Right. And I feel like lyrically and artistically, there's a lot of young talents. You know, dudes like this guy sitting over here right now.
So here's the thing. You two are going to talk and I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Handle your scandal.
All right.
Handle your scandal.
I didn't say I was going to rub one out. I said I was going to the bathroom.
But hey,
homie.
Whatever you do behind those closed doors,
Yeah, for his extra, huh?
West Coast.
you dig. All right, so Bams.
Yeah, it was good, my boy. Appreciate you having me here, though.
Nah, it's lit. The record with Rowdy, how did that come about?
Actually, my boy C, he had a link with Rowdy. He hadn't even really put out a record in a cool minute. You know what I mean? But he's one of the guys that I came up with. Move over to the other.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, my boy C, yeah, he hit up Rowdy for to link. I don't know, he linked with him somehow, whatever. But he wanted to put him on a record that he had with me, like an old ass record, you know?
Right.
And I was like, nah, bro. I was
We need to come new.
yeah, I was like, hold up. I was like, I'm gonna pull up to the studio. I was like, I got this other record I think is better. I was like, just when you come, because he's in Vegas right now. I was like, when you come to Cali, just cut your verse and then we'll send it to him.
Yeah.
And so yeah, basically like that.
Did you? I mean, to me, Rowdy might be. He's definitely one of the best lyricists right now on the West Coast. He's going crazy in the game. Period.
Yeah,
like,
shout out Roddy Rice. You know what I mean?
do you feel like right now, like, how do you feel about the current state of Chicano rap, or just, you know, I don't even want to call it Chicano rap, but rappers who are Chicano and Mexican.
I feel it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I ain't in no Chicano rap.
Yeah, exactly, because like that phrase insinuates something. You know what I mean? Like a very specific subgenre.
Yeah,
but
like some early 2000s.
Yeah. That's that. You know,
Yeah,
Mr.
nah,
Criminal,
yeah,
Capone.
we ain't doing
like
none of
Mr.
that.
Shadow. Yeah.
But, nah, I think it's going up right now.
But fools like for Rasa right now.
Yeah, like
that was the time, right?
Lefty, Rowdy, you know what I mean? I don't know, Bravo,
Bravo,
Peso.
Cheeto, Drummer Boy.
I got some shit coming next with Peso and King Cash.
Fire. I love King Cash is a homie. Peso's fight. That's dope.
Yeah, I've been had that one for a little while too. You know what I mean? Just because the whole little situation that they had going on and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that one's dropping next. What else? You know what I mean? And like all this shit pretty much too produced by my boy that I came up with. You know what I mean? So it feels even better. You know what I mean? Because I get to share it with him too.
Yeah.
And the dude that actually we met Miz through was my boy Wino. Shout out Wino, RIP. That fool suicide and shit.
RIP Wino.
You know what I mean? But that kind of even brought us a little closer and made us want to grind more for that fool's dream too. You know what I mean?
Now
he was like our big bro. You know what I mean? Like
right.
outside.
So coming out the 805, there's actually like a decent amount of talent right now.
Yeah, I mean, we always got some talent out there. You know what I mean? It's just,
right now, I mean, like
a lot of fools down there just don't know how to get over here. You know what I mean?
Right, and there's a whole hip hop scene that a lot of people aren't even aware of, as far as like Madlib and the Loop Pack. There's a whole boom bap underground scene out there, which is
that's
crazy.
pretty big too. It's like probably like Thousand Oaks all the way to like
Yeah.
San Luis Obispo. Or
Yeah. They don't, you know what I'm saying? It's a geographically large region.
Yes.
But right now, I mean, obviously with yourself, you got Trouble Kid, you got, you know, Cam.
Yeah, shout out Trouble Kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Cam de Guapo.
Cam Guapo
That's
too,
my
yeah,
boy.
yeah,
both
yeah,
both
shout out
those
them.
fools.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
think
there's what do you feel like? Do you feel like the 805 is like low key in contention for being up next?
Nah, yeah, we up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We coming. You know what I mean? I see a lot of fools shining. You know what I mean? Fucking shout out them. You know what I mean? I've been smoking a lot today, and it's been a long couple days, so I can't really remember everybody
Yeah.
and shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, shout
Nah,
out
but
them.
there's-
Even a couple of my boys, dog, that are coming with me, dog. Like
Yeah.
2 of them just got out. You know, one from jail, one from prison. And they're hard. You know what I mean? I think harder than me. You know what I mean?
Welcome home, homies.
Yeah, shout out my boys Kid and Bugs. You know what I mean? Skips too. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, fucking we coming Dope Shack and shit.
Yeah, I'm juicy speed, but y'all got cracking.
Yeah,
1,000%.
Yeah, and my boy Skips too is like on some next level fucking like still got that West Coast funk, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
But still switching it up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To cater to the new shit.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their own style out there too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Trouble Kid be doing like the Spanglish shit, mixing it up, doing all kinds of other shit. Can be like rapping over like the early 2000s like pop beats and
Yeah, I fuck with that shit too. Yeah, I fuck with some hard ass shit.
Yeah. No, it's dope to see what all y'all got going on.
I got a couple songs like that ready to go too. But I try to do everything, dog. Like like even like I was saying earlier, I didn't even know your girl was
Germ, Bang Bang, yeah.
I did a song with her in like 2017.
That's lit.
Some shit.
That's lit.
And it was EDM. You know, my first time doing the EDM song.
Yeah.
That shit was hard.
Yeah, she always gonna take it outside the box.
Yeah, So I try to do a little bit of everything. You know what I mean?
No, that's dope. The diversity is really important, and also growing up where you didn't see, because like you're growing up in the barrio, but then you're going over there seeing how the white kids are
but
partying.
we grew up with a bunch of rich people.
Yeah,
too,
that's what I'm
right
saying.
Next to us, you know what I mean?
So you have
going to school with them. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's like you want that shit too, you know? You're like, I need that.
Fucking white bitches in Montecito and shit.
Getting picked up in Bentleys. I'm over there getting picked up in a little VW Bug, you know what I mean? Shout out Grams, you know what I mean? We was thugging it, you know?
Right.
But I'm like, I need that though, you know?
Is that did you find that like inspirational, or was it also kind of like, damn, like these fools trying to flex on me? Fuck this shit.
Nah, I wasn't really tripping on it like that then, I don't think, you know?
Yeah.
I was just
you're more just like a youngster growing up, just in the mix.
Yeah, playing
doing
sports
your
and
thing.
shit too, you know what I mean? Kept me pretty busy until I got into high school and then started getting in trouble, you know, so.
Right.
But,
right. As far as would you consider Santa Barbara, like, how heavy is it as far as the gang banging goes? Obviously, I know there's hoods out there.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? It's active. You know?
Yeah. You think it's gotten worse the past few years?
Nah, I don't know. I think like when we were coming up, it was a little bit more crazy.
More turned up at that time.
Yeah, but I'm not really like around like that right now. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do some other shit, and then I also started a nonprofit to help like.
No, you and Grandma started a nonprofit.
Yeah, and Miz too, you know what I mean? We started a nonprofit to help like mentor some kids, give them some life skills, you know what I mean? Mostly through music. Like we would go to like the boys camps and like the juvenile halls and shit like that and teach them how to write and record.
Shout out Pharaoh.
You know what I mean?
That's super dope. You know what's funny is my cousin, my older cousin, he's basically like an uncle, but he's technically my cousin. In Ventura, he's a guitar player, and he would go teach the kids to play guitar and then juvie and shit.
Yeah, I was doing it through UCSB too. They're paying good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's lit.
And it was something I was gonna do for free anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
I was like, shit.
Now, see, this is what I love.
Yeah.
Bam's in first seat. You know what I mean? That's what that's what us as mentors are supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the ones that put the new cats in the position to do what they need to do.
That's literally why I do this.
I feel you, bro. Like that's what I told you in the parking lot.
Homie too. His name's YZ. He's like half black, half Mexican, right there from Santa Barbara too. And that fool got just like some great mainstream sound. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, that's dope.
Merging the Mexican and white people. Nah, we're merging everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So
but that's what people don't understand too about me is like my grandma. She got a white kid, a Mexican kid, and a black kid.
Yeah.
Shout out Grandma
You know what I
Bams.
mean? Yeah, shout out Grabs, you know what I mean?
That's my grandma.
So it's like we talk shit or however people might think like we say like some kind of racist
Shout out
shit.
to
But
That's just
Shack.
homies.
it's
just
all
like,
love, yeah.
Yeah,
it's all love.
yeah.
That was like internal family shit.
Hi, Mom.
Do you-
Shout out to everybody.
Look, Vic's mom is in the thing. Look.
That's right.
Vic's mom.
Yeah, shout out to Lynn. Damn.
Do y'all feel like am I tripping when I say that?
No, you're
Boy-
always tripping.
Oh yeah, I'm tripping.
No,
for
go
sure.
ahead, go ahead.
But beyond that, is it safe to say that Sad Boy Loco is the most successful rap artist to come out of Santa Barbara thus far?
No, he's the first one to come out of Santa Barbara without Damizza.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's
Who
what he
else?
said.
Nah, yeah, he did his shit. You know what I
I'm
mean?
Still
Yeah,
Here was
that's the-
recorded on Grandma's dining room table.
Really?
Yes.
So you were there for the
I'm
early-
on the album. Who do you know,
Yeah.
shout out Ripple and Sad Boy, but who do you think they brought it to?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
sense.
that's, you know,
Shout out to homies.
and Lewis.
Yeah, shout out Lewis.
You know what I mean?
Bro.
That's, I mean, he's like, you gotta, you know, one of the first records that I heard of a Santa Barbara artist was Sad Boy. And he said, you better read Damizza's book or something like that in one of the lines.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, so that's how I met Sad Boy, is I called him and said, yo, thank you. You know, I appreciate that.
It was dope to see like his journey and hooking up with YG and all that.
Dude, and the other thing about you have to remember about Sad Boy, and I love Sad Boy for this, and I love Lewis, and I love his family, the Hernandez family, and his mom, everybody, is because like Sad Boy was like one of the first people to show up to my grandma's funeral and the last to leave. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's, you know, whatever the industry is and all of that shit. But us Santa Barbara boys, we Santa Barbara boys, and we stick together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we make jokes and all this kind of shit just to rib each other and stuff like that. But one of the proudest moments was when I saw Sad Boy on the cover of the Santa Barbara Independent.
Yeah. that's
You know what I mean?
amazing.
Because that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they try to keep everybody in the mainstream media, and shout out to Ryan and everybody at the Santa Barbara Independent too. But I'm just saying that, you know, the mainstream media tries to keep the voice of the streets out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that they can push their narrative. That's why I always say Republican, Democrat, blood, Crip. It's red and blue. You know what I'm saying? But what about the brown?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's the deciding factor. You know what I mean? And if you can, and dude, I'm Turkish. I'm dark as some in the room. You know what I mean? Like, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's like, I just love hip hop. You know, that's my race. That's my religion.
That's how I feel as well, ultimately. You know,
So it's like, fuck all this other shit. Like,
I've never felt the need to qualify my downness or whatever as far as, you know what I mean? Like,
yo, you know, so many times people have challenged, you're a white boy from Santa Barbara. Great, suck my dick. Look what I did.
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
And then ultimately, I mean, like, it's funny because then you see, I think me being someone that was riding around, jugging, hustling from an early age and had homies up there at an early age, I kind of knew what was up, and I knew, oh shit, Santa Barbara's not just what people might think it is in the damn brochure. And then, like, you know, Sad Boy kind of, I feel like, really let that be known to a mass audience. Like, hey.
yeah, but
like,
you know, there's a funny
we're not
picture on my
play,
Instagram early on where Sad Boy and I are sitting there, and I'm at Sad Boy's house in his house studio, and I'm showing him, you know what I mean, something. You know what I mean? Like, you have to remember, one street over was Harmon. That's where the Dub Shack started. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So that was the dream. So that somebody, even a street over, was getting on. It was like, fuck it, all hands on deck.
When you say the Dove Shack, you mean the Dove
Skippy.
Nah, yeah, that's like our shit. Like,
Yeah,
we had,
yeah,
we had
yeah.
a little shack in the back
Yeah,
where the
yeah, yeah.
studio was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Where Big Skips and Mama Skips
Right.
live. You know what I mean? Like, and that was the spot where we all met, and that's, shout out to Maya. Look.
oh yeah, shout out my little
Hi, Mom. Hi, Maya.
We in the building.
Twins. Sorry.
So, and then there's been other artists. Like, what are y'all thoughts on the Boy West Coast?
I don't.
Yeah,
Motherfucker fell off a cliff, and that's where he
I
needs
don't
to be.
fuck with that fool. I don't know nobody that.
No,
do
his
fuck
heart
with
ain't right, bro. No, you know, I very rarely will step out and say something, you know what I mean, like about just people that just don't need to be in the industry, you know what I mean. But Like he said something about Bams one time.
That fool just like randomly would just like
Really?
try to
Yeah.
tag me in some shit because I have like Thug Life tatted on my stomach.
Yeah, that's
And
dope.
so that fool would like try to tag me in some fucked up picture of that.
But
shit.
you also have to understand when he put Thug Life on his fucking stomach, we went to Mo Preem and Edie and everybody and
I
was
was
like,
after I already had it. I was like 15.
but we let him know. You know what I mean?
I got to
Like,
talk to Mo Preem. Shit was cool as fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
shout out Bishop.
Yeah,
But
shout
I'm
out-
just
shout out Mo
saying.
Preem, yeah, shout out Bishop for lining that.
But it wasn't like, it was going to be authentic. It wasn't going to be like, yo, this kid is trying to be whatever. No,
Yeah.
you got to understand. That's my little homie.
That's what influenced me. You know what I mean? I told that fool.
Yo, tell the story about freaking being in the Bay
what
and being
he-
on stage with the Outlaws.
Oh yeah, I got to go on stage with the Outlaws and they were like everybody was pointing at the Thug Life and shit while they were singing "Hit 'Em Up" and shit.
Oh, that's
Like,
fire.
we were
You know
like,
what I mean?
"Plus" and
But as
shit.
a dream, like for me, even like as a kid growing up, and then seeing him as a dream, putting that and then having the Outlaws pointing at his shit,
That's a full circle moment.
that's like a full circle fucking moment for me.
I was supposed
Yeah.
to. I was supposed to perform. It was at the Oracle Arena, but supposedly some shit had mixed up with my fucking with my manager and
up
and that
north
shit.
in the
Yeah, at the
Yeah.
Oracle Arena. Yeah.
It was in the Bay.
Yeah, that's the Bay Area.
And,
yeah.
And that's right there. You know what I mean? And I'm just sitting there going like, damn, like this
Somebody
is the best
fucked
moment
up, man.
ever.
But I didn't get to perform, so fucking the Outlaws were like,
Shout out
fuck it.
Edie.
Pull up
Hop
with
on
us.
with
Pull up
us.
with us and shit. You know what I mean?
Just show
I,
your
I
stuff,
just
like-
took my shirt off and shit and fucking and lit a blunt and shit, and everybody was just going crazy. It was Hit 'Em Up was playing and shit. I
Oh
was
man, that's
Yeah,
getting
shit
the
was sick.
chills. So, but
Me too.
he has something to say about that boy West Coast or what?
Well, no,
Nah, that
I'm
was
just
just a
saying.
hater, you know what I mean?
He's look, dude. Somebody goes viral for a second, they fucking get a hit, they get an ego.
Like, it was before that. I think that fool wanted to fuck with us, and we weren't really fucking with that fool because that fool
Oh.
shit was whack as fuck.
Yeah. Like I mean,
Bro, I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I ended up having to tell that fool, like, what's up, fool? You can fucking pull up, and that fool didn't want to pull up.
he wasn't trying to see the
Well, and the thing is it's look, you're either authentic or you're not.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, look,
And you
you
can
either
tell by
want
his
to
eyebrows.
learn and play the game.
You can tell by his eyebrows he ain't authentic.
Well, this full change. It's funny. Like that record was such a big little like viral like Vine
Hey,
and
that shit was
TikTok
cool.
record.
Yeah,
you
and
know
it was
what I mean?
fine, but you could have gone one of two routes with it.
Yeah.
You could have gone the ego route and said I'm better than everybody, or you could have tried to help the homies and been a cool guy about it.
That fool ain't even want to help his homie, his cousin. That basically he started recording.
Dog, we're giving him
His
too much
dad.
fucking shine right now. Just stop.
And then like,
Next.
the new shit I heard of him is
I don't
really
even
weird,
care.
but
I don't
yeah.
You know, let's move on.
Yeah, we done with you, boy.
And that's
boy,
my
West
friend's
Coast.
cousin, so I don't want to disrespect his family.
Yeah.
You know what I
get
mean?
that.
Like, so next.
I think your shit's whack as fuck. That's coming from me. Like, but with that being said, so early Power days. What was your original introduction to meeting Dre, Snoop?
Well,
and
I
that
mean, the
entire
Snoop
camp?
thing happened at that club when the Dogg Pound was performing, but the Dre thing happened at that Zoom video shoot.
That was
And-
your very first.
Oh yeah, and I saw LL Cool J, and my first words to Dr. Dre were, "Yo, what the fuck is this?" And he was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, Snoop was on that record, and it came in the Compton swap meet and the fucking Slauson swap meet, and it didn't sound like this."
What was the difference? Like, what had happened?
LL Cool J's on it, and Snoop Dogg was on the other fucking version. Where's that one?
okay.
And he's like, "How the fuck did you know that?"
Yeah.
I said, "I'm a fucking rap fan."
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And then it was like, "Let's exchange numbers," and that was that.
yeah. And then from then on, it's been lit.
And from then on, it was that.
So what was your early? Because I know that of all the artists you work with, Nate Dogg has a very special place in your heart and,
Always.
and your story. Like,
Rest in peace, Nate.
What's your original Nate Dogg memories?
Well, it's not original, it's a collective. You know what I mean? Because I saw him, I mean, he literally, like,
Were you there pre-Indo Smoke?
no. I came in well after that.
Okay.
But, you know, I came in, you know, in the break between the Chronic and Doggy Style and then 2001.
Okay.
You know, and, you know, Blue
So when it
Carpet
was
Treat.
like before Aftermath, when he was doing like
It
the
was
Dr.
in
Dre-
between Death Row and the beginning of Aftermath,
Yeah.
but right after The Firm and the Aftermath album.
Okay.
So-
right after Keep Their Heads Ringing.
Yeah, and all of that.
Yeah,
so Dre was kind of on a hiatus.
Yeah.
and Snoop was still.
He had that bit
He
there,
had just
done that
got
song.
yeah, and then and Snoop had just gotten off death row, so it was kind of like it was just perfect for the pickings. You know what I mean? Like, I just happened to be there, and I was the fan, and I just kind of connected the dots.
Okay.
Just because I wanted to see that shit, so I just kind of. You know, but it's because of my knowledge of hip hop and what I love about hip hop that made them go like, wait a minute, maybe you know what you're talking about.
So people were, and would you say it was like a combination of your passion and your knowledge that captivated them?
And knowledge about bring me another DOC line. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'm saying like, yeah, it's a combination. That's the formula.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you study the game, and you'll someday be a professor. You know what I mean? There's cats and there's people that do this. And you know, it's
Is
rare.
you or is you ain't?
Yeah, you'll be what you know, my little brother and I were trying to think of something that my dad used to say. You know, it's like if you are, you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that's what it is, that's what it is.
And nowadays they be saying it ain't on you, it in you. You feel me? It ain't on me, it in me. Like if you got it, you got it.
Well, it's you know what it's like. Get out of your own way. You know what I mean? It's like there's three heads or three voices in your head. You know what I mean? There's the one that's the trap thinking, which is short term. Yo, I'm gonna make this a little quick, and then, you know, I'll get a quick buck, and you know I can move on, get my high, whatever. Then there's the one that's like, yo, thinking always long term. That's like, yo, dude, like, you know, I know that's fucked up. I know he's saying this, but just trust me, play the course, da-da-da-da-da. That's the voice you listen to. And then there's the one in the middle that's going like, what the fuck do I do? You know what I mean? Do I listen to this fool? It's the devil and the angel on the shoulder. It's the old cliche. You know what I mean? But as long as you always running with the angel, you'll be fine. It's that
Corporator has two devils. Apparently, he has no angel.
Well, it is what it is.
Hey, shout out him though. That fool funny.
Yeah, shouts to Big Perits and Little Perits and.
Hey, it's funny too, cause back in the day the homies fucking they used to call me Perits and shit.
But you know what? It's whatever your God is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't judge. You know what I mean? Whether it's, you know, anybody. You know what I mean? Whatever your God is or whatever your spirituality is what drives you. You know what I mean? And that one voice that you hear that's always right is that voice. You know what I mean? So, you know, they put labels on everything. You know what I mean? So it's like, but none of it matters. It's all comes down to electricity. Whatever are you feeling? You know what I mean? Whatever happens in your ears or whatever happens in your soul that motivates you to do something that you know is right. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just is what it is.
Now, so your compilation, do you consider it a compilation album or is it?
I call it a cover up.
Okay. Why you call it that?
Because what happened is the compilation album, like I wasn't ready to make a record yet, but because of my employers, it was like, look, you know, MS Broadcasting wants to start a record label. You know what I mean? And they want the money of what's happening on my production side, basically. And I gave them all the money. Like, whether it's Fast and Furious or whether it's producing records for West Side Connection or whatever, all the checks went to them.
Really?
You know what I mean? Shade Shites was signed to MS Broadcasting. You know what I mean? The radio station.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it, you know, I was doing my job. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to put it.
But you didn't have interest at that time in putting out a record, but that was just kind of the way that it made the most sense business wise. And
well, no, it was. Look, you're doing this job, you're doing all this stuff, but I wasn't charging them to do it. Like, I didn't charge for I Still Believe. And the first record I ever produced was for Mariah Carey. I said, no, I can't accept the money because I don't want the chance that somebody's gonna say that you did something fucked up, like you took a bribe.
yeah.
You know, if that shit ended up hitting the radio and I got paid for producing it, then how does that look?
And this is in the midst of the whole radio payola scandal type. So
well, no, it wasn't. That was previous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What happened in the radio scandal was I was helping Mariah Carey rebuild her career, and with the radio station making records, the other radio companies and the other conglomerates and the record companies got together and said, "This dude has too much power.
Yeah.
We've got to tear this motherfucker down."
You kind of were starting to monopolize, and that's what is that the time around the era where they said you were the number 4 most powerful man in hip hop.
Yeah.
The number 4 most
source.
powerful man. I think the only people ahead of you were Russell Simmons, Jimmy Iovine, and I'm not sure who the third one.
I think it was Dre and Jimmy.
But yeah, Dre and Jimmy. Yeah,
You know what I mean? But then you turn around and you look what put
that's
Jimmy.
fucking insane, though.
You know what I mean? And
I think you're on some of those Source Power 30 lists as well.
But, you know, it is what it is. Steve Smith really was the power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just, there's always an OG behind the young shooter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no matter how you look at it, if they shooting right, you know what I mean? And they that shit, then there's always an OG behind them.
But you was the pressure regardless, though.
That's what I mean. Look, Bams is the pressure. I'm just the OG.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could tell him, but I always tell him, and what I always say is, look, I'd rather go to the OG on the block and ask directions than getting shot on the way to the liquor store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That just is what it is.
So that's a message, by the way. All you new artists, take direction. Don't be afraid to take direction, but also make sure that the OG that you getting direction from knows his way around, or else you can get lost and you might hit a damn dead end.
No, just listen to your voice, man.
Yeah,
you know what was that Cat Williams thing when it says your inner
monologue?
You know what I mean? That inner shit. You just listen to your authentic self, and you'll always be fine.
A lot of people.
You start faking the funk, you end up like Boy Boy. Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud?
Bottoms up.
From what I hear.
It gets Mickey and tricky in these motherfucking streets sometimes. So with that being said, you brought her up. There's rumors about you and Mariah Carey of many different varieties.
Think about high school, and there's a cheerleader and there's a football player, and you're out there playing games, and you're the quarterback, and everybody likes it. And there's a cheerleader that everybody likes that might have a family that's a little crazy and things happening. It just fucking was basically that.
So you weren't hitting that.
To what?
So you were not hitting that.
I was what?
You were not hitting that.
No.
My boy was hitting it. My boy was hitting Mariah Carey. Legendary.
No.
Legendary. No, but shouts to Queen Mimi.
We had a great relationship. Let's just say that.
Okay. That's so.
She's a classy lady, dog. It's not about hitting. It's not about any of that.
No. I get it. But the teenage boy in me, you feel me?
Me too. When I met her.
That's Mariah right there. You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you, you know what? I will say this though.
Honey Remix video,
when I
Mariah?
knew that I made it in the music business.
Yeah.
Is I was on I woke up and I was in bed with Mariah Carey. And I looked over and I was like, holy shit. And I see her asleep. And I get up and I check my phone and there's a message from Jay-Z. There's a message from Puffy. And there's a message from my boss in LA. And I was like, holy shit. Like, this is... and I was on my way to Hot 97, which is New York. You can't get any bigger. If you make it here, you make it anywhere in New York.
That's Hot 97.
Yeah, and I'm like, to get Flex to sign his contract.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, this is
so crazy.
Did I say that? I should stop drinking. All right, I'll shut up.
So, at that moment, text from Jay-Z. You said Puff, text from Puff. Mariah's 3 feet away from
sleep.
3 inches, dead sleep. White boy from Santa Barbara.
All hit.
Done glow.
But you know what was crazy about it? I said to myself, and this is literally a true story. I said to myself, this is what God feels like. And I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck did you just say? He said, this is what God feels like.
That's dangerous.
And I said, homie, you need to go home right now.
Yeah.
Like, go home and talk to grandma right now.
Yeah.
And I literally, she was still asleep. I called, I booked the flight, got in the taxi, went straight to the airport, and went straight home and said, Mom, here's what just happened. You know what I mean? And
it's almost scary, right?
It was the most ridiculous moment of my life. And I was just like, what? Like, recenter. She's like, look, let me make you dinner. Just chill out. You know what I mean? Like, it was, it was a moment.
Was Mariah pissed when she's like, where
oh,
the
yeah,
fuck
I got
did
a
you
call
go?
in the car on the way to to the airport.
Yeah.
The fuck you go? And I was like, I just got to handle something. Sorry, I got to go back to LA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it just was overwhelming.
That is super overwhelming. And it is crazy just because everyone has these thoughts of Mariah Carey.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to look at it like that's a regular girl that went through regular shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we're regular people that go through regular shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's more famous, or Snoop Dogg or Dr. Dre is more famous, or they're a brand, or they're this, or they're that, and that's not what it's about, dog.
If she really has that alleged sex dungeon, you could lock me in there and never let me go. I'll stay there forever.
She don't have nothing like that.
Nah,
she's a good girl, yo. Here's the thing. She's a good girl, but with the business that she's been in, what she's been, she's really defensive.
Yeah.
And that's the shit that pissed me off. Is if you really didn't know me like that and you really think that I'm going to fucking make a tell-all about you of all people, then I'm sorry. Like, I can't fuck with you.
And do you think that was just kind of like a blanket thing that she was like saying to anybody
I don't care.
that was close to her?
I don't give a fuck. If you can't call me after everything that we have been through together and say, Dame, what's going on? Then I can't fuck with you.
Yeah.
You're not real to me.
Yeah.
You really are that bitch in the glass box.
So that kind of severed the relationship too.
And that was that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even before her, so as far as I think one of the things that you had to do, and one of the most impressive accolades, in my opinion, you can, if I'm tripping, let me know, but you really had a lot to do with convincing people that this kid from Detroit with I don't even know if he had the dyed blonde hair yet. I think
No, not yet.
yeah, he still just had the little military fade or whatever, that straight from the trailer parks and
That was a straight up favor for Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre called me in the studio one night and said, yo, I need to talk to you. And I was like, fuck it. Went to his house. He's got a studio in the house. And he just said, look, and Slim was in there, M was in there going, Slim Shady, you a basshead. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, he's writing for you. So I thought he was writing for him at first. Yeah. And he said, nah, I got to talk to you. And I was like, what? And he goes, how do I break the white boy? I'm like, wait, you signed the white boy? And so this...
Swap with me real quick.
Huh?
Swap with me real quick. You can't see you really.
What am I doing?
Doesn't say swap with me.
Oh, swap?
Musical chairs in this motherfucker. You see how we do. You feel me?
You know what I mean? Telling good stories and shit.
Sorry.
I heard it was like 100 times.
But it's just, that's what it is. I mean, he was in the booth. He was writing some stuff. I thought he was writing that. So being the hip hop fan, I said, Dre, you tell me the story of NWA from beginning to end, and I'll break the white boy for you. And we sat on his washer and dryer. I sat on his washer and dryer. He sat on his stairs with a little baby monitor. He had, just had a baby. And Nicole, his wife, wonderful lady. I mean, it's just nice to be in their home and there. And he just said, here's the story. And he went on until 6 a.m. And M comes out and he was like, yo, it's 6 o'clock. I'm going home. I was like, no, bro, you're going to the Baker Boys show. And you're doing Friday Night Flavors tonight. And when I told my boss that was happening, she said, Dr. Dre's over. And haven't you ever heard of Vanilla Ice? You put that white boy on stage, you're fired. So the next morning, I was literally packing a box when she walked in and said, you're lucky that white boy killed it. Give me the record. And I was standing on the stage with Primo.
So that's how close-minded people were to it. Just the concepts.
And I was standing on the side of the stage with Coolio, rest in peace, Guru, rest in peace, Primo, and fucking Dubsy.
Wow.
And we're all standing on the side of the stage watching this shit. Just
that would have been a posse cut for real.
Yeah, I mean, that's Dre's new artist. Oh, the white boy? Wait, what? That's Dre's new artist. Oh, we got to see this. You know what I mean? And
they were tripping.
And he fucking killed it.
Yeah.
And that was
Wow. Wow. So what was your when you first actually met Marshall? What was your initial impression of him as a person?
He was just a regular kid. You know what I mean? He would obviously, had been through some shit or whatever. I mean, he was in a dirty white shirt and, sweats and whatever. I mean, whatever it was or the
typical troubled youth.
Yeah, and Marshall, what
looked
people
like he could have been on Scared Straight on the receiving end of
He's just a regular guy, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? He doesn't really, I don't think he really thinks of himself as Eminem. You know what I mean? I think he's just, it's a lot like this. I'm more vocal and more personable. He's more reclusive and whatever. But we were the two, it's almost like I'm watching my older brother do what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have that kind of relationship where we talk or whatever, but I'm proud of him. I see what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, and we came up together. We were the two white guys in this camp of people of hip hop. You know what I mean? That we're just struggling to find our identity. You know what I mean?
You're a spicy white person, though. So.
Well, here's what it is.
So the first, I don't know if they actually did Infinite, which was like essentially, his underground album, but I know Slim Shady LP and Marshall Mathers LP both were engineered. What are they called? The Bass Brothers? The engineers that did those records?
Huh? I'm sorry. I was reading some of the things.
The first two Eminem commercial releases.
Yeah.
Slim Shady LP and Marshall Mathers LP.
Yeah.
Two engineers, like the Bass Brothers. The
first album. I mean, Dre literally did Guilty Conscience and Hi My Name Is.
Yeah.
That was that.
Yeah.
And I was in and out of the studio for both of those sessions. The next album.
Because I remember on that first album, there was already a whole EP.
Yeah, it was. They needed to rush to get this shit out. Yeah. The single was there. Blah 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 blah. We were doing Dre and Snoop in Hawaii. The reunion was on. Everybody wanted to just package it all together and let's go. You know what I mean? Like, that was that. So, man, I don't know. It was all natural momentum. Like, it just one thing led to another.
Yeah. That was a Marshall Mathers LP. I've said this multiple times. I feel like lyrically and just performance-wise is the greatest performance by an MC.
Dre said something interesting about the Marshall Mathers album one time. He goes, "I've never made a perfect album." And I go, "Bro," I said, 2001. He goes, it's almost perfect. He goes, Marshall Mathers' album is the closest I ever got. You know what I mean? He's like, maybe one or two things I'd change, but that's the closest I ever got.
It's an amazing album.
Well, and the funny thing is, I went to a Backstreet Boys party, and I ran into Marshall coming into the party as I was leaving the party.
His former ops.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But it was like a Grammy party or something, so everybody went. Yeah. And they ended up commandeering the DJ booth, and Kid Rock, Dr. Dre, and Eminem ended up rocking the party kind of thing. And he stopped me and he was like, "Yo, bro, you got to come to the studio tomorrow." He goes, I got this album, but I don't think I have the single yet. I just don't think I have the single. And we get to the studio and he plays me Kill You, and then he plays me Stan, and I'm like, well, there's your fucking single.
Right.
And he goes, nah, it's not Hi My Name Is. It's not Hi My Name Is.
But that wasn't a lead-off single on that album.
Right. So I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. Just let me know. Yeah. And I left. And then the next night he calls me up, him and Dre on three-way or two-way or on a whatever. They were in the studio and I was on the other line, and they were like, come to the studio right now. Come to Record One. Come now. We got it. And I was like, okay, cool. Walk in, it's fucking real Slim Shady. You know what I mean? And I was like, give me a cassette. And they're like, well, you can't play it on the radio. And that's how even The Watcher Part 2 got to Jay-Z, is Dre just gave it to me. You know what I mean? It was just something to bump in my car. Literally Dre took I was in the room when Dre was mastering 2001. It was me, Dre, and Big Bass Brian.
Wow.
That was it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Literally, I was to Dre all through 2001. When Doc was the studio guy, I was like the projection guy. You know what I mean? Like,
as someone that was around and so instrumental to like a lot of that music getting out to the masses, what do you feel was what changed about Eminem's flow around the time of the Eminem show and the ensuing?
I just think he evolved as an artist. Mm-hmm. You know, the things he was going through, getting sober. You know, one of the first times I ever had a Vicodin. You know, M comes in and he's got this big ass pharmaceutical bottle of Vicodin, and he goes, "You want to try one of these?" And I'm like, "What?" And he goes like, "Yeah, pain pill." And I was like, "Yeah, cool, whatever." You know, I mean, that was just the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, the pharmacist is a fan." You know what I mean? So she just threw me the whole bottle. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, "Shoot me some Vicodin." She's like, "Here's the bottle." You know what I mean? The supply bottle. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Like, he goes, "Yeah, I got 2 of them." You know what I mean? Like,
I gotta get more successful.
but that's what I mean about fame. You know what I mean? Is fame is fucked up. You know what I mean? It will either empower you to have a God complex, or it will destroy you.
Enable your vices to the point where you keep you alive, essentially.
You know, I mean, you know, just try to stay centered and just try to stay in the moment. So, and yes, it was originally Dr. Dre, Chronic 2000, and then when Suge Knight put out that other thing, I was literally standing there with the artwork of Chronic 2000 when he got the call.
Wow.
And he said, "Fuck it, I'll call it Chronic 2001 then."
So what was it like working on that seminal? I mean, you did a lot of records with Nate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Shade Shice joint, like "Where I Wanna Be." That's one of my favorite records of all time. Music.
KG from Naughty by Nature gave me that beat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, KG from Naughty by Nature.
That sounds like a Naughty by Nature.
Ricky Lee, rest in peace. Yeah, he gave me that. Him and Eddie Kangle. They did that, and you know, KG gave me that. And you know, I didn't think Nate would do it because I was looking for like kind of a gangster track. But you know how like back in the day we used to make what's called a DAT of all of our beats, you know, and it's like a beat tape kind of thing, you know. So I put it in and I hit play, and it went. And I was like, fast forward, and Nate was like, "Whoa, hold up, the fuck was that?" Yeah. You know what I mean? And I was like, "Oh, that's just some, you know, whatever," thinking like I'm going gangster with this. I'm not going. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's like, "Nope, that's it." And I was like, "Okay, boss." You know what I mean? Like.
And it just kind of constructed itself from.
It just kind of happened.
Did you So you had said earlier, or I don't even know, this might have been before we were on camera, you alluded to the fact of Nate's passing was kind of...
It was rough.
Yeah, it was really hard on you and kind of made you want to take a step back from the industry.
Well, it was everything that was going on with it. There was a lot of politics. You know, when someone like that, you know, there was a lot of politics. And I probably wasn't in the right mind state to deal with it. You know, Grandma had just fallen. I had retired. I was, you know, doing a bunch of dumb stuff. You know what I mean?
Why did you retire? What was like the
catalyst? Well, there was a culmination of things. Power 106, all of a sudden, some became profitable. So corporate America wanted to have their say. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's not the right direction. And then when Grandma fell, it was just like, you know, this is not important to me anymore. I'm gonna go home and just take care of Grandma.
Was your granny like your primary like caretaker growing up?
Oh, when I was abandoned a year old on her doorstep.
Okay.
You know, my dad was a factory racer for Harley, a biker, you know, all of this kind of shit. My mom was just, you know, strung out. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was like, you know, I got dropped on the doorstep at a year old, and that was that.
And so Granny is really, that's like low key. Like,
well, when I was 7 years old, it was about 7 years old, I said to her, you take care of me now, I'll take care of you then. You know what I mean? So the second she hit the ground.
It's a mature decision for a 7-year-old.
Well, but you have to also understand Granny. You laughed. Because you have to know Granny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just nobody like her. You know what I mean? She was like the first female automotive garage owner in the Western Hemisphere. Like, she was a pilot. She was a, you know, I mean, a great cook. She wanted to learn everything, you know, and she, you know, she moved herself out of the, you know, racist South to raise their kids in California so they wouldn't be influenced by those things. You know, when we pulled into the driveway of the new house in Louisiana, when she said, I want to move back, and God, right before COVID, she said, stop. And I took her out, and she's like, you know, she started crying, and I was like, what's wrong? And she goes, no, what's right? You know, not so many words, I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
She kind of just said, what's right? You know, when I left here, women couldn't own land. We were property. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So it's like, who would have thought little baby Ree would own all this land?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I was just like, that's that.
So your granny, would you say that's like the biggest prevailing influence?
Oh, that's my best friend. Like, you have to remember, like, I was at the top of the music business, and I said, fuck all this just to sit with this little old lady. That's something special. You know what I mean? Like,
that says a lot.
Literally, you know, for the last 5 years of her life, living in the country with 200 people, and bands would come in and out, and people would come to visit and stuff like that. But it was literally just me and Granny in the house together for the end of her life.
And
and I was her full-time caregiver. Like I always say, she changed my diapers, I changed her Depends.
Right.
She gave me a bath, I put her in the shower.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that was that. And that's what, you know, and that's what people are missing is our loyalty to what we come from. And that's where you get fucked up. When you get that God complex and you think you're better than anybody else, that's when you're going to lose.
Do you feel like there's changes in the industry that were also not really sitting right with you?
Yeah, it was all that. Okay. You know what I mean? When I left, the very last deal that I did, shout out Brian Shafton, was for DJ Quick Trauma.
I'm a DJ Quick stan.
And that was through the Fontana distribution system, which then turned into, it's now RPM, you know, whatever that is. Yeah. But it was the first time that an artist with a SoundScan history got an advance, had an 80-20 deal, and his masters through a major. So when I left, I thought rap's great, cool. I can skate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now the way that they've bastardized it, it's like, come on, man.
Expand on that. How?
Well, I mean, that deal is now turned into a 360 deal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where it went from an 80-20 deal where the artist is the beneficiary of the profits of the record
to the label now.
To the label putting you into a faulty bank loan and owning not only that, but your merchandise, your touring, your, you know what I mean? Based on some cash they'll give you up front. It's the crackhead shit. I'll give you a rock, get you high.
Right.
You'll be strung out in 30 days.
Do you feel like that was the 360 deals were a result of the changes in the climate of the industry as far as dwindling sales, bootlegging?
No, you know what I think it was? It was a collective. You know, I think there was egos of artists, there was egos of label, there was, you know, everybody felt like they were the ones. You know what I mean? And it just was, no one is the one. You know what I mean? Like, it's a collective, collaborative effort. And if you don't do it, then you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like we're sitting here, but, you know, someday they're going to say, I can podcast with an AI.
Of course.
You know what I mean? You put a hologram in this seat and just ask it questions. You know, a hologram Dr. Dre or something. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm glad that you brought up AI because I never got to ask you this question earlier when we were discussing it, but we were discussing the DOC.
Yeah.
I had heard the DOC make a statement of the fact that he's interested in making AI-based music.
I can't talk about it.
Okay.
You know, I mean, there was a private conversation that Doc and I had about it, and it's not for me to talk about.
Okay. But let's say this: my suggestion to him
was to get a hold of his masters, take the acapellas, make you know how auto-tune works? Mm-hmm. How you sing into the auto-tune?
Yeah.
And how, like, these voices on AI chats, how you can change it to any language or any voice, or you can have Snoop Dogg read a book or something like that. You know, why don't you take auto-tune and use that, but when you spit your verse, it comes out in your original voice?
Right.
You know, like kind of a talk box thing.
Right.
And there was just some political shit in that.
I would love it if and I know the recording industry wound up basically saying that AI records are ineligible for Grammys and things like that. So I don't know if those are the...
Look, the way the world works is you can either be in the moment of what's actually happening, or you can be a bystander. And the wave of water will drown you regardless. Technology is you know, we were talking about like tape machines and everything. You know, it's like back then we were resisting Pro Tools and the computer.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yet that's where it went, and then here we are, and now we're talking about AI.
Right.
So, you know, we can either use AI as a tool or let it
and
run amok.
I think staying on the side of technology that we're able to, I think it's always good to stay ahead of the curve,
Yeah,
behind.
and that's the point.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not even staying about. Look, it's about the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Look, you can get as tech savvy as you want. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have the streets, you ain't got shit. You know what I mean? If you ain't got regular people, because it's like all of these conversations and all of these things, like I said about the red and blue and all of this kind of stuff, that's not how we talk as people. You know what I mean? Like, you may have different views, or Trump or Biden or this or that, or different gang affiliation or whatever the fuck is. But if you take all of those ideals and all of those labels and you put those two people in a jail cell, they're going to get along.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's
Or they're
a
gonna
Wall
catch a
Street
fade,
guy
they get
and a
along.
blood.
Yeah.
You know, but after the fade, what happens?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's either one's dead or they're cellies and they're friends.
Right.
You know what I mean? After we get it in and, you know what I'm saying, we find out who's what and this, that, then it either becomes a mentorship thing or it becomes a, you know, a non-workable thing. And I just choose to work on the workable side of it.
Makes a lot of sense.
I'm not going to argue with you. I know what my pedigree is.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know what I've done. So there's nobody in this business that can argue with me. I mean, the CEO of fucking Universal Music was the guy pushing records to me when I was 15. Do you know what I'm saying? Trying to get me to play his record, saying, please do me this favor.
Right.
Like, come on, player. Like, you think you can tell me something now?
Right.
I was playing your shit back then.
So what do you think about the current state of terrestrial radio, since you're, you know, a pioneer in that field that spent so much time there?
It's missing the mark. And you know what's so funny
Is
to
it
me?
irrelevant?
No, of course not. Because you know what's funny about it is, you know, you look at 26% of independent or inner city areas or low income areas have data plans on their cell phones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are they listening to?
Right.
The guy driving the FedEx truck isn't on his phone. He's listening to the radio.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like 96% of Americans still listen to the radio. But the problem is it's poorly programmed and it hasn't evolved. You know, it hasn't become a platform. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways to do it. It's just, you know, it's fucked up because, you know, Steve isn't here. The rest in peace. You know, Michael is older and retired. You know, Keith Knafley has moved on. Michelle Sanasuso and myself. Like, it's like we're not really in that day-to-day radio thing. So adapting
And y'all are the ones that gave a fuck, for real.
Well, but the thing is look, it's like, look, what would Henry Ford think of the electric car?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, would he adapt to it and understand it? It's still four wheels. You still play commercials. You still play music. Would he adapt to it? Of course he fucking would.
Well, it's regardless of the fact that there is still a contingent of people that listen to terrestrial radio, the majority of people are not dependent upon that to consume their music. Now,
No, that's what they tell you, because that's what the phone pushes. You know what I'm saying? Is this is the only place to get content because revenue is based upon that. So now they've squeezed radio. You know what I'm saying? They don't want analog to exist.
correct.
Do you know what I'm saying? This is the only thing that they want you to have.
Right.
You know, whether it's look, you've given them your biometrics, you've given them your face, you've given them your fingerprint, you've given them, you know, every fact about you. That's where they want your knowledge to go so that they can pool it, know how to monetize it. With radio, you can't do that. It's free. And you can't tell who's listening. Yeah, there's a sample size for ratings, but you really can't tell who's listening during the day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Especially if it's playing in a gym or in a, you know.
But, you know, I walk into businesses and shit like that, and it's not an iPod playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Most dentist offices and things like that.
You know, there's the Muzak places and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You go in the liquor store, homies listen to radio.
Yeah.
You know, but the problem is just radio doesn't break records like that. That's why, like, when I heard the Lefty RJ record, when they were playing the video, I'm like, you're playing yourself if you ain't playing this record. You know, that's what's going to get the streets activated. That's what's going to give you the reaction. You know what I mean?
What do you feel about how do you feel about streaming services, and do you listen to music on Spotify or Apple Music and things like that?
You know, I seriously get my music from Bams and Skippy and all of them. Like, when I get in the car and they're like, we're going somewhere or something, they'll put something
You gotta
on.
listen to my shit.
Yeah.
The whole way.
And it's fine. Or he'll just, you know, it's funny, like the whole way back from Louisiana, if he got bored listening to music, then he just rap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just listened to him rapping the whole way back.
I'm dry as fuck. When you're tired, you gotta watch the podcast or some shit. That shit
Yeah, and then there'd be the podcast and shit. But
Luckily, this fool doesn't suck, or else that would be.
no, it was dope. You know, but that's also, it made me proud because even on his downtime just driving, he's trying to refine his skill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'd wake up and just be like, try it this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or swing it this way, or that was a good line, or you should keep
the Rick
that.
Rubin producerial approach.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
half asleep, like,
Yeah.
you know, driving through Arizona at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, shout out Vic.
Do you feel like these companies, these streaming services are, for lack of a better word, raping artists?
Oh, hell yeah. They've been raping artists since vaudeville.
Yeah.
They're trafficking artists. That's what they're doing. The music business was based on bootlegging and corruption. So what you think, they're doing anything different now? It's just it's a sleight of hand.
But there's a significantly more amount of revenue at stake now than there was before, correct?
Well, I mean, the economy is that. You know what I mean? Like, it is because...
Yeah, it's not the Roaring 20s anymore.
Yeah, but...
Or the...
You know, you're talking about in the Roaring 20s, you're talking about the Great Depression,
Yeah,
and the
the Great
wars,
Depression,
and
yeah.
all of that shit. But coming out of that came a renaissance of art.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening right now is going through all of this terrorism and all this other shit and just all the shit going on in the world. You know, like Doc said to me one night or the other day, he said, you know, whatever God is, it's that frequency, and the good guys showed up, the bad guys been in power too long. You know? So that's what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like...
And you know what's kind of dope about it is I was a soldier back then, but I'm a general now.
Look at you.
So I can just sit there and watch it.
Calling
You know what I mean? Just give it. No, I don't mean calling shots, but I mean just giving advice and saying, look, let's try it this way. Because I've seen it work that way.
That's like a polite way of calling shots, but you're still calling shots. You're just
Whatever.
You're a humble guy.
Just doing it politely.
Yeah. You still calling shots.
Always have, always will.
There's a knocked over the damn Red Bull. Spencer already. I'll clean that up later. Is there there's certain regions when you look at Houston, you look at the Bay Area,
Yeah.
you look at these different scenes,
Influential places.
very influential places.
Dallas, look at Dogg.
Dallas, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and shouts to all the Dallas legends beyond DLC that people might not be aware of. Like,
I mean, then, you know, you
Big
talk
Tuck,
about like...
Mr. Pookie, like there's a whole
Man, but and then you talk about Houston and all of those areas. You talk
Yeah.
about Paul Wall. You're talking about...
UGK,
Yeah.
Scarface, DJ Screw, the whole screw.
all of that
like,
shit.
Yeah. Now, and these are areas where independently, like look at the Bay Area, for instance. You got, dudes like Mac Dre,
Yeah.
who were
Rest in
selling
peace.
80,000, 100,000
Or
units.
E40 was selling them out of his trunk.
Out the trunk. That's
Literally.
my point. Independently, you know what I mean? First time, even in LA, fools were doing that to a degree, except for we have a music industry infrastructure here way more so
Yeah,
than
we
up
were
north.
learning.
But I got a Nipsey Hussle handed my little brother a copy of Bullets Ain't Got No Names, Volume 1 at the Culver City Car Wash in 2007. So this is like, there's a lot of that entrepreneurial independent mind state. In these regions, you see support for local artists.
Okay, that's what I was just about to say.
Yes.
The point to that is you supported your community.
Yeah.
Right now it's so fragmented, you know, with radio and with like, you know, for instance, podcasts even, you know, they have an influence on a market. You know what I'm saying? Like if they say, hey, go listen to this, then their audience might go listen to that. You know what I mean? And that's what radio was. It was a platform of music, you know, as corruptible as it became, you know, I mean, that's just what the game is. And that's just, we're just seeing a bigger form of that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But the thing is like you see like a Lil Russell, you know, or something, or a Bams, or a, you know, a Rowdy Rax, or a, you know, Lefty Gunplay, or something like that, and you see a community supporting an artist and bigging it up. You know what I mean? And creating something, you know, from the dirt. You know what I mean? And that's the organic stuff that I'm talking about, you know, and that's why I'm saying radio, if you're not playing the RJ Lefty record, you're playing yourself. What I'm really saying is those people programming Power 106, if you don't know,
you're behind the times.
If you don't know what's happening in the streets, then you're playing yourself.
Right.
Follow these young people because that's your audience.
In particular, it's so funny too that like it took LA so long to catch on. Like we're essentially in Mexico right now. You know, this is Califas.
It was Mexico.
Like, this Califas right here. Like the fact that you have a predominantly Hispanic population, you know what I mean? And there's a gang of popping.
But Hispanics will support everybody else but themselves first.
Right, but right now is a different era, right?
Well,
you know
and that's what I'm seeing that I love so much is the unity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you're talking about third, fourth generation gangbangers that are now, you know, friends.
Rowdy's fifth generation.
You know what I mean? So you're talking about 2 generations, maybe 3 or 4 that are still alive because everybody starts young.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, now like you're getting the more not educated, but more intellectual gangbangers and OGs.
More refined.
More refined, telling these youngsters, like, this is the mistakes that the 3 generations below you made.
Right.
Like, we need to retool this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, like, just being more, you know, cognizant of all of the games.
Do you feel like right now it's kind of... This is the first time that...
And that goes back to that Sully thing, you know what I mean? Like, the way they put you and how they house and everything, it's not kind of the same gaming as it was.
Of course. And there's more like, this right now, earlier, Bams and I were talking about his music. We brought up the term Chicano rap, and that became like a box. It was like a separate entity. But now you got, you know, Mexican and Chicano artists from Southern California that not only
but you
Mexicans
got black
are
artists from Mexico that only speak Spanish.
That too.
You know what I mean? That are now crossing.
And you,
I was gonna say it's not as much of a box as it used to be.
Exactly, it's not. That's what I'm saying.
But see, that's what I'm saying about labels in general.
But still, we don't like the extra labels. You know what I mean? We don't need that. You know.
Well, right now is the first time that you'll hear Mexican artists being played by black fools in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like that was never really cracking like that, with a few exceptions here and there. You know what I mean? But like, it's like you could. I was in South Central 3 days ago, and I heard Rowdy Rax slapping. You feel me? I heard drummer slapping. Like, you know what I mean? Like, look over. Oh shit! Is, you know, like,
that's homies.
Yeah, and it might be fools that were slapping look like some Crips. You feel me? And like you.
Yeah, but you know those guys.
That's new.
But you know, Rowdy studied the game.
Yeah.
You know, like when we got the record back, when Bams first played me the C record that it was, I was like, wow, like Rowdy really listened to the song and did a verse to the song.
Yeah.
He just didn't spit some shit.
He didn't
and that
phone
was
in some
that.
shit. Yeah.
He understood it was a song.
Yeah.
Did it the way that it was, and then that was that. You know what I mean? Like, he's a student of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what the difference is these young cats now today, they don't give a fuck about that generation right above them because they got it fucked up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? They want to
Absolutely.
talk to the OGs and know, yo, what's really, like, because this shit's fucked up.
Well, and the
like,
fools want to always bring some pre-written shit instead of actually writing to the actual
Yeah,
song,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but they
Or
don't
send it
know.
empty.
and the beat. you
They'll
know
just
what I mean?
send you an empty, or you know what I'm saying? Hop
Yeah.
on this. That's
Send me a
Well,
verse.
that's
Yeah.
cool, that's cool too. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if you're just gonna come in the studio and there's already like a whole song with the chorus and everything, and just throw in a random ass verse, you know what I mean? Like,
it's about songwriting.
The song's about the song could be about, you feel me, being heartbroken, and the verse is like, I ran up with the strap.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but
you know, but that's what's missing from the game is, you know, I mean, I would cringe to think that Quincy Jones, who produced Thriller for Michael Jackson, would listen to a Boy record.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Do you know what I mean? Like, did I say that again?
That's Guantanamo Bay torture music.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, like, or something of the viral descent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
do you feel like now, as far as this wave that we got cracking in Southern Cali that I love so much, of the homies, you feel me, really cracking off right now, really getting motion, do you feel like the national market is going to fully embrace it? Do you feel like in New York City, in Philly, in Detroit, in these other regions, we're going to see artists like Lefty Gunplay and Rowdy?
What I think right now is happening is there's a unity happening of the good people. The bad, like I said, the bad guys been in power too long. And all the good guys are going, wait, all they're doing is extorting us, but saying they're going to help us, but handing us some candy. It's a crack rock mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you this rock, you'll be high, and that's great, but you're high, and I just took all your money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then 30 minutes later,
you're not high no more.
You're not high no more, and you don't have no more money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the mentality. Because
that's where the knee pads come in.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I think there's this new generation of young people that are coming up that genuinely want to know the funk. Like, yo, like, I want to be that cat that, like, knows what all of this was and how they did it, and, you know, what was, you know, Thriller, or what was the Commodores, or what was Nirvana, or how did they do that? Because that shit sounds a lot different than what the fuck I just did in my computer. How can I get my computer to sound like that? You know, and you can have all the plugins in the world, but if you don't have the ear, then,
if you don't got the soul,
yeah, you know, you're blind. You know what I mean? Like, some people need a stick, man. That's just that.
Absolutely.
So I think that a lot of people are just looking for the stick. You know what I mean? And hopefully they're going to find it. You know what I mean? But I think there's a lot of OGs that are starting to realize, like, man, like, we got to do something because this shit is fucked up. And those OGs, I'm just lucky to be part of that movement.
So when you wound up going back home to take care of Granny, were kind of frustrated with what was going on in the industry.
I wasn't paying attention.
So you kind of, you took
I detached. I mean, dude, when you're living in rural Louisiana, if there's a cloud in the sky, you don't get internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's no radio station out there. And I mean, literally, the town was 2 blocks. And if you drove 1 block too far, you were in Texas. You know, we drove, and every morning I would get up at 3 a.m., drive 15 minutes to the gas station, get a pack of smokes and grandma's newspaper, then drive back to the freaking house, and that was my morning.
How long did this detachment last, or whatever?
I mean, it was on and off for like 20 years, bro. Like, because it was more important to me, you know, when I met Bams, Skips, Wino, rest in peace, and, you know, Big Bams and Skippy and Los and Cameron and, you know, Silas and, you know, Sergio, or, you know, Nate and all of them, like, all of those kids that were friends with my little brothers. And it became more about just making sure they weren't fucking around in the streets. Like, I just became big bro. And that was that. You know what I mean? So I wasn't, unless the business benefited them, it really wasn't important to me.
Were they aware of, like, who you were?
Oh, yeah. You know, like, for instance, like Los, you know, the producer that I first met, you know, with Cameron and Guilty, and if you go back to Dub CNN days and all of that kind of stuff, you'll research
shouts to
it.
Dub CNN.
Yeah. You know, you'll figure all of that out. But like Los, like, he looked at my Dr. Dre plaque and said, I want to be Dr. Dre someday. And I literally took my Dr. Dre plaque off the wall and handed it to him and said, if you stay out of the streets, this is a loaner until you get your own. You know what I mean? Like,
so would you say that it was them that kind of got you reinterested and wanting to step back into the game?
But it was only interest through them for their safety and health. You know, it really just wasn't about, you know, it was like, yeah, if this music thing can help you, or if that's really what you want to do, I'll empower it. But some of them, you know, some of them went into the military. Some of them went into, you know, the school system. Some of them went into, I mean, you have to remember that it was, you know, 2 decades of kids that came through. You know what I mean? From billionaires' kids to fucking street kids. You know what I mean? Like, oh, go see Damizza. You know what I mean? And you know, it.
You're like the oracle.
Well, no, it was just I spoke the language to the young people, but grandma put enough in me. Like, yeah, my life was fucked up personally. And, you know, yeah, I was off on one, but at least I had the presence of mind and everybody saw that, yeah, I too am a work in progress, and that's why they can relate to me. You know what I mean? Like, but at least I'll tell you how to get through without getting shot.
How are you able to survive for that long without doing, like, you know, what you did for your livelihood? Did you just, like, basically living off residuals at that point?
It just was what it was. You know, everything's just.
You made it make sense.
We just, like anybody else, man. Some day it's feast or famine.
Yeah.
Some days you're sleeping on the couch in the studio. Some day you're driving a Bentley.
Yeah.
That's the music business.
It's relatable as fuck. I think a lot of people don't know.
There's no in between in the music business. You're either fucking sleeping on the couch or you're fucking in the Hollywood Hills with a Bentley.
Yeah.
There's no in the middle.
Yeah.
And I never, you know, I just never cared about it. Like, I'm as comfortable on the couch as I am in a multi-million-dollar house.
Are there any artists that you feel like you really wanted to get over that hump and become famous that you were pushing that weren't able to attain the level that you knew they could?
No. You know, because it's not my place to want. You know what I mean? What I want for them is to just be safe and healthy and happy. You know what I mean? And as long as that's going on, then we straight. You know what I mean?
Because you were involved in like, and I feel like he's still like has made some incredible music. I was a big Nocturnal fan, and I know that you were involved with Noc.
I love Noc. Yeah. To this day, I love
Great guy. Seems like
but you know, I mean, everybody's got their, you know.
I feel like he was this close to being a superstar artist, and
But you got to look at it like the Docs thing. You know, he gets to the point where he puts out his first album, he's the biggest rapper in the world, loses his voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes God has other plans, or the universe or whatever you believe in has a different plan. And sometimes, even though your ego or yourself wants you so much to do something, I want to be an artist, or I want to be a celebrity, or I want to be a carpenter, or whatever the hell it is. You know, you may end up an electrician.
Right.
You know what I mean? You may end up an engineer. You know what I mean? Sometimes a path detours. You know, I mean, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a rapper. You know what I mean?
And you could actually rap good. That's the funny thing.
Thank you. Yeah, but that's what I grew up wanting to do.
Yeah,
that was hard. He always wants me to write for him. I'm like, fool, you're hard. All right.
No, you can write.
But the thing was, is you know, that when I was 14 or 15, but then, you know, I started writing for people, and then it just kind of turned into that. Like, I didn't set out and say, hey, I'm at the top of Power 106 and I want to be a rapper now. You know what I mean? Like, no, bro. I was doing that at 14. Ask Battlecat.
That was the ludicrous. You know, that's the ludicrous trajectory. He was a big radio DJ.
And he used to call me every fucking morning and ask me for a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't even know it was ludicrous when I ran into him. You know what I mean? Yeah. He said, yo, it's Chris Lever from Atlanta. You know, I call you every morning. I'm like, oh shit, you're ludicrous? Like, I didn't put the 2 and 2 together.
It worked out for him though, right?
Yeah,
it's great.
Go hard too.
Luda, I mean, he's one of the dopest rappers there is. I mean, he's underrated as fuck, man. Luda
go hard.
His delivery and the way he acts out everything.
That 4-album run in the beginning of his career.
Yeah, and then he transitioned into being, you know, an actor, and he's done it all, man. Luda's a great guy.
And if he's still capable of stringing a 16 together, like that Shannon Sharp response verse, like he still got it.
Luda's Luda.
Luda's Luda, absolutely.
You know, the funniest thing about older people is never underestimate Dogg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they've been doing it a real long time. Like, you know, an old military guy, it's so funny. Like an old sniper, you get these young buck snipers and shit like that, and they think they're hot shit. And, you know, an old sniper will take your head right off.
Yeah, 1,000%.
You know, very quickly because he's seeing the things that you don't see because he has experience.
Well, look, athletes require to be in peak physical condition, wear and tear on your body over the years. You're not going to be able to swing a bat, fucking shoot a ball.
You just said it perfect. There's a lot of, you know, the first time I met Jim Brown, Hall of Fame football player, right?
Of course, legend.
And
Killer.
you know, he's walking,
Martian.
rest in peace, and he's walking like this and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yo, man, like, what's up with your back? And he's like, you know, we only had leather straps. They have helmets. You know what I mean? Like, but, you know.
But as an artist, we're not required.
No, but I'm just saying, you know, but he did the work that opened the door for so many people.
Right.
Whether it's O.J. Simpson or Ricky Waters or, you know, whatever it is that came after him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the template.
There's no Barry Sanders without that. Yeah.
But you know, the problem, you know, with today is a lot of times, the internet, all this stuff, but they don't know the extras. You know what I mean? Like, the computer only gives you what it is in the narrative, but it doesn't give you the feel. Do you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to get in the room and understand the feel to understand how the song is made. It's a collaborative effort.
Right.
It's a fucking jam.
Right.
4 guys or 5 guys would get together in a room. One would play bass, one would play drums, one would play, you know, this and that, and some would sing, some would, you know, rap, some would do this, that, and the other, and then together you made a funky song.
Mm-hmm.
Right now you're dealing with a one-on-one situation with a partner that doesn't exist.
Less ears.
You know what I'm saying? So it's you and the computer.
Yeah.
So it's like pre-made loops, pre-made, you know what I mean? So it's like you can either use it to your advantage or you can be bastardizable for it. And sometimes people just don't want to do the research to find what it is. And the research is in your OGs. So how was music made in the 70s? Let's go back to that for a minute. You know, how was music made in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s that made us feel like we felt when we grew up? Well, there's nothing new under the sun. People, you know, revert everything. You know, it's like, you know, when I knew things were coming back around was when I saw the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg just did the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's coming back.
1,000%. And something I'm curious to get your take on, as far as there's been a narrative for a long time that's been increasingly more prevalent the past few years that the West Coast sound doesn't transcend to other regions currently. People aren't interested in West Coast music, that our sound is antiquated, that it's played out, that
do you know why I did Cruising?
Focus on.
Do you know why I did Cruising?
Why?
A 16-year-old kid in his bedroom made that beat. And I took it and played it for a friend of mine and that was in the know. And he said, that sound is over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if a 16-year-old kid in the streets made this beat, then that's what's happening in the streets. And you're the one that's out of date. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, so let me take this 16-year-old kid's beat. Let me throw Butch Cassidy on it, and shit, I'll do the verse on it and watch what happens.
Yeah.
And Cruising was Cruising.
Right. So
it was just to prove the point.
Yeah.
Like, y'all motherfuckers don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it was the #1 testing record on Power 106, but E-Man wouldn't play it because he had a personal vendetta with me. Do you see what I'm saying? And I don't still to this day don't know what's up his ass, but whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I love him to death. I brought him into the music department, but, you know, politics, ego, whatever.
Now, what was it beyond the camaraderie that you saw in Bams that you were like, all right, we got to
you know, it was just all of those little instances where I could fall and he was there. That's it. And that's what friendship is filling in the blanks.
But friendship is one thing, but obviously you believe in this guy's talent.
No, that's what happens with music too. You know what I mean? Is if you can fill in the blanks. If you're a producer and you're making a beat, and it's the difference between whether the artist gets on it and feels something from it and can make something from it.
Yeah.
It's filling in the blanks. You know, those young guys, not just Bam, Skippy, and, you know, Wino, and, you know, Rocks, and all of them. You know what I mean? They all, like, were digging the vibe. They were, you know, whether it was old beats and digging through my DATs, or, you know, hearing that and get inspired, Los, or make a beat, and, you know, or just, you know, trusting my guidance. And, you know, I was more, you know, it was funny because I was more, how do I say, nervous about giving them advice as they were in approaching me about advice. You know what I mean? Because these young people, yeah, they're making records. They're the ones that are hot in the street. I'm the old guy now. You know what I mean? But they took that as, no, I want to know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what the time to right now, to the generation happening right now, is there's just a lot of those kids that just didn't have access to someone like me.
And do you feel like at this point, for these up and coming artists in these, you know, desolate regions that don't have the same outlets, that there is no Hot 97, there is no Power 106, there's nothing like that. Like, what's your advice to them in getting themselves out there?
Consistency, yo.
Yeah, just consistency. Consistently pushing the narrative, and at least just, you know, just trust yourself, man. Don't get in your own way, and just, if you were meant to be, then you were meant to be. You know what I mean? Just go out there and do the job. We all know what our place is. You know, internally, we know. You know, and it's whether we listen to the egos or the people around us that sway our opinion or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? But we all know deep inside what it is.
1,000%. 1,000%. Now, what y'all got coming out, man? What's cracking?
Shit, we got some new shit. The next record with Peso and King Cash, like I was telling you earlier.
It's fire.
Gutta Baby actually is dropping on all streaming platforms on the 19th too.
Okay.
Because right now it's just exclusive on my YouTube.
Okay.
And something big is coming.
Yeah. We got a gang stuff and like ready to go, but it's just like, how we gonna line it up? You know what I mean?
Well, we're here for y'all over here. We push
And vice versa, man.
And
I appreciate it.
As
Shout
far
out
as,
Tone.
man, there's rumors of a Damizza book years ago.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Still out there. Go to Amazon. Damizza, Guilty by Association.
Okay. And
It's on Amazon and it's out there, but there's some. I'm about to come out with something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely ready for that. And it was dope watching you on No Jumper. I'm, you know, as everyone knows, past 8 months now, I've been back on No Jumper, and it's been amazing.
Wow.
So we
Congrats.
pushing the line.
It's a great platform. I like Adam. I
Great
like
platform.
what he does.
We might need to sit down, just spin the block with me and you and Adam soon, and you know.
Whenever, man. I love what he does.
And
Yeah,
definitely got our eye on the home.
I ain't going for no clickbait shit though, bro. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. You know what? I watched, No Jumper. When I look at something like No Jumper, I look at it as, well, I guess an elder, and I just kind of want to grab Adam and go, dude, like, do you see what you're missing over here? Just because Adam's young and he's discovering this platform, but I'm looking at it as somebody who's been there and done that. Like, I look at No Jumper as like a Power 106.
Yeah, No Jumper,
you know what I mean?
MTV, absolutely.
Yeah, totally. And I go, man, if that guy had the experience, well, then he would do this or he would do that. You know what I mean? And I see that and I'm just like, he'll figure it out. You know what I mean? But like, and he's a smart guy. Smart guy.
Fools pushing the line.
Hell
and
yeah.
it's so funny because there's all this controversy of that No Jumper hosts were charging for interviews and stuff. And I was like, I know one person who did not pay for an interview from Brick Baby is Damizza.
Well, come on, bro. It's like, look, I've been lucky enough in life to be invited to enough places, but I know when to say no and I know when to say yes.
Yeah.
And I've just been blessed to always be invited and never had to pay admission.
And there it is. This is dope as fuck.
Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah.
Been an
And thank
honor
you
to
for
have
being here. There's not many people
Shout out
that
Matt
is,
Deep.
as knowledgeable as you, and I appreciate you, bro. And I recognize you as what you are, and that is a vessel of the culture.
And
so thank you.
That's I could go to motherfucking Ibiza for
I'll tell
a week
you what.
on that note.
Let's just go to the strip club and call it a wrap.
You dig? Yeah, there it is. With that being said, you feel me? Damizza, you feel me? This shit is crazy. My boy, this shit was dope. You feel me? He got bangers on the way.
Damizza and Bams, man. We up out this bitch, Lush World, man. Mad D, we out here. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let us